Hello and welcome to the Old Man Orange podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunigan.
And I heard you got a new book.
Oh,
I
haven't even read it yet.
Like, I heard you got a new book out. Well, not really. That's actually, I bought somebody else's book that they wrote and drew pictures with.
And I haven't even, I bought it. I have nothing to talk about. I just got Flash Volume 4. I literally bought it just before we started, like, recording just about, so.
Sweet.
I haven't opened it. I flipped through it. Looks cool. It's focusing on Reverse Flash is what it looks like. So, he looks all hella different, though. He looks all like, he's not, like, literally reversed, like yellow minus yellow or red should be and red where yellow should be. It's actually literally, he's like, he looks more monstrous. He's like red, but then he has like this black shell kind of thing overcoating him, armor looking stuff. It's kind of weird looking, but it's actually looks cool. I mean, you can tell who it's supposed to be, but it definitely looks different. So we'll see how that goes.
Huh. I know I have the third book of Flash, but I kind of didn't have the cash to go out and buy the fourth one. I kind of forgot about it, actually. Well, I knew it was coming, but what day it came out?
Well, I heard the next Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo Batman book was out, so I went to the store looking for that. No comic book store in the area has it yet. I don't know. I thought it already came out.
It did, because I already bought it. It hasn't come in yet, but
okay.
I bought it.
I'm surprised. You think they'd have it right off the bat, but yeah. So
and that one's 8 issues long. Because at first I was like, what the fuck? Why is it like $18 or whatever? That sounds like a cheapskate. But on Amazon, it's like, they're never $18. And then I looked, I was like, oh, it's 8 issues. Oh, okay, that's worth it then.
Yeah, I'm going to have to order it because everywhere I went, they didn't have it. So I didn't want, I felt like I didn't want to like order it from one place, because every place I went to, like, oh yeah, we can order it for you. I'm like, no. I didn't say this, but I'm just going to go down the street to your competitor because they'll probably have it. But then
ordering
they don't
seems
have
like
it,
it's going to take... You almost have to think, like, if I want to order...
If I felt like being a patient individual with the willpower, I could do that. But no, I'm just going to walk down. Oh, fuck, they don't have it either. Whatever. I guess I'm going to have to order it.
Yeah, it's like, if I'm going to order it, I'm just going to buy it offline. Not to sound like a dick at all, but...
I can't order shit offline. I got, like, there's a... Because some of the postage companies around here, they literally just drop it right under your doorstep. They don't need... Some of them, they usually will leave a note, but sometimes they'll just drop it right on your doorstep. And... You know, anywhere else, probably not a big deal, but in the city, you got to worry about that. There's like a Filipino lady with like schizophrenia that kind of walks back and forth our street, and I'm pretty sure she stole this Goku shirt that I ordered off Pop-Up Tea. So yeah.
Is she the lady that takes like your recycle when you're walking up the streets too?
No, she ain't that. No, this isn't like one of those people that just rummages through the recycling stuff. This is somebody who's just like. She'll like go back and forth along the street, and if you ever bump into her, she's like, "What should I do with my life? I don't know."
Don't take my Goku shirt. That's the first thing you should do with your life.
I don't know if it was her. I'm just guessing because she's always in the area.
Well, if you see a hobo with a Goku shirt on, you'll know.
Just, motherfucker, like Goku wouldn't steal. Goku, why you wear it? It's kind of like one of those things.
The guy's like, yeah, it's fucking cold, and there was a T-shirt on the ground. Fuck you.
Well, every once in a while you see something, it's just kind of like,
Mr. I live in the city apartment. I live in a box, you fuck.
I don't give a shit.
Like, yeah, fuck you then.
After a while,
let's settle this in the fucking like park.
Living up in like the hills, you would have a lot more compassion because you only had like a few homeless people, and you know that if they were homeless in like Sonora or like Tuolumne, they must be going through some shit. But here, there's so many of them. After a while, just like you get very like, I don't give a shit. No, not to sound like a dick.
Wait a second, you guys probably make more money than I do. Fuck you.
It's not even, I'm sure there are ones out there that are trying to get by and are trying to do good, but you really do see so many every day, and a lot of them are just being kind of like, not even so much like, hey man, can I have $1? Okay, that's fine. Not even that. Just be like, hey man, can I get $1? Sorry man, no, I got the bus. It's like, oh, you fucking asshole, what? I can't get $1? You get a pack of smoke. You get that kind of shit. So it's like, oh, fuck these people.
When I was talking about that,
they're not all like that. But...
And one time I was walking through San Francisco and I was drinking like a Jolt Cola or something like that.
Jolt Cola, what was this, 1997?
No, this is when Jolt Cola had its comeback, like in 2008. And I was drinking one of them, and all of a sudden I was done. I was like, oh, okay, I'll just carry this till I get back home. And this Asian lady comes out like nowhere, and she's all like, she's just talking in like Chinese and whatnot. She's kind of yelling at me, pointing at the can. I'm like, what the fuck? It's like, oh, and you're like, oh, okay, here you go. And then she's like, oh, thank you. And then she walks up. I was like, dude, what kind of great service they got out here? Just take cans and everything. It was like in Russian Hill area too, so it's like, oh man, people come up and take your trash off you while you're walking home. This is great.
There you go. No, I mean, I do see a lot of people just kind of like going through that. That doesn't bother me. That's fine, whatever. It's just more like the type of shit when people. There's actually no. There was one guy though. It's usually the little old ladies are always fine. It's like there's one or two guys that go through get rummage, like old guys will go through the recycling. There's one guy when I wasn't looking, literally took my monster, poured it out, and walked away with it.
That cocksucker.
I was and I was like, and I yelled at him like I was in my company shirt. And I was like, "Fuck you, asshole!" And he just like keeps on walking, like pretend like he didn't hear me. I'm just like, "Oh, these fucking people." He never came back to that spot though, you know.
Yeah, you kind of come to hate Hobo. Well, then you kind of realize it's like,
Well, those
yes,
people aren't even those people probably aren't even homeless. It's probably they
no,
probably
they're
just
just
have
probably
some
that's
little,
like their career path.
yeah.
But
No. It's
books, look
more.
at this book I picked up. This is one that came
I see
out.
it's Castlevania. You have a Castlevania book.
Yeah, it's pretty much like it's like total huge Castlevania encyclopedia. It's not
Oh,
made by
awesome.
Konami, but it's just made by these people called Hardcore Gaming. And
Oh,
they
right
made a
on.
book previously. I've seen it before because it was on my recommendations for Amazon, and it's on classic Sega arcade games. And I was like, oh, holy fuck. I was like, that's something I've always wanted, was a Castlevania encyclopedia, but nobody fucking made it. And now in the last handful of years, they started making finally these encyclopedias.
You think they would have come out with Konami with a Castlevania one sooner?
Well, with a lot of video games, though, they're still not that common, I mean, if you think about it, a Zelda one only came out like a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, whenever that one did.
Mario one actually came out pretty early. That one we got
There's that neat Mario one
Mario
that I have
Mania
called
one.
Mario Mania that came out when Super Mario World did. Like,
Hmm.
that's kind of the first one I can really think of. And, there's always little ones here.
And there's like
Even
comics
Nintendo.
in the back and stuff too.
Yeah.
It even goes out of its way to puts in like details you would because you before there's a time to actually read the instruction booklet because you would actually get the story and little details you wouldn't get in the game.
Hmm.
And this actually did that. It's like, oh well, here's like Mario's high school photo. Here's Mario like when he's a baby and he was already like he hit puberty at a young age and he already has kind of like a faint they got like a faint stash coming in.
Well, it's like I love anything kind of like those encyclopedias. I mean, I got the Zelda one, I got the Resident Evil ones, I've got the Capcom collection one that was like $12 or something when it came out.
Mhm.
There's a bunch of other ones. Sometimes they go kind of expensive really quickly, like the
I'm
Mega
pretty
Man
sure
one.
they have a Street Fighter one too, don't they? Have a Street Fighter one.
I don't
They
think. So.
probably have if they have a Capcom Collections
I
one, the
can't.
Darkstalkers
Well,
one.
because the
They
thing is,
probably
like, I
have
feel
Street
like if
Fighter.
there was a Street Fighter one, I would have saw it. That's the only reason I say it. Because this thing, it just came up on like my Amazon recommended thing, and it was like, oh fuck, this came out like a couple days ago. I'm fucking buying it.
I think there's a Darkstalkers one though.
Now they
Maybe
might
it's
have
an
ones
art
for the
book.
conference.
Maybe it's an art book or something though. Maybe that's
Yeah,
what it is.
there's probably art books, but those kind of encyclopedia ones, it's like there's a Sonic the Hedgehog one that I've always wanted.
Really? Is
But
that
it's
well?
like
I know there's one that came out like right when Sonic Adventure 2 came out. It was like an art booklet of like original sketches and kind of like a progression
yeah,
from where they were then to where they started and to where they're at Sonic Adventure
this
2.
one I
And
think is like
it also came
2008
with
or 9.
and it also came with like a CD of like a bunch of like the music from the games, like from best of music from like when it first started all the way up to Adventure 2. So
Hmm. No, it's not. Because yeah, there's always been kind of art books, and I'm more talking about the ones where they just go like, here's every single game, here's all the characters, here's miscellaneous stuff, little trivia and whatnot. Like this Castlevania one, I've just kind of flipped through it a bit. But yeah, it's got all the games. I mean, it's got all kind of like the spin-offs. It goes up to Lords of Shadow too, which is the one that only came out 6 months ago or something like that.
Mhm.
So it's got pretty much everything in there. It's even got some like extra like kind of like the homemade versions of some of the games and whatnot, just to throw that in there.
Like, are you talking about like some of the bootleg stuff they made, or maybe not bootlegs, not the
Well,
right,
sort
but I
of
guess
like
fan made stuff?
because there's people out there that will take like sort of like the engine of like say I know there's one for Castlevania 2,
And tweak
and they
it for
kind of and they
liking.
fix all like the problems because like in that game the text is so slow. It's like one of those ones like you must go to the woods and find my cock. No.
It's a chicken. It's like it's a mission. You gotta find my chicken. Yeah, just a chicken like rocking back and
Yeah,
forth.
what would you think you want me to find? If you want to find my cock, you can just go right here. Get on your fucking knees and suck it, boy.
Is that the thing where you have to like kneel
Wait, you want
down?
you
Or,
gotta
like, is that,
fucking
is that
curse. It's okay. I mean, I won't catch it.
isn't that the mission where you have to kneel down for like 2 minutes for the door to open up? Just go to this guy, kneel down in front of him for
looks
like
at this fucking robe.
yeah. You just see this little pixelated don't go into the guy's mouth, and then just like loading, like little loading bar pops up in the corner of the screen.
But no, somebody went back and they fixed that and they fixed the kind of like some of the other like weird mechanics in it. And you could literally go out and buy a copy of this guy's version on a Nintendo cart, so you could play it in your regular Nintendo and everything.
Mm.
Like
I
people make
know.
some, it's kind of there's kind of cool. I think we talked about it a long time ago on the podcast on some site. I can't remember what it is now, but you could go out and sort of either buy when people made unofficial sequels or they had kind of revamped versions, and you could buy them on the actual Genesis cart or Super Nintendo, regular Nintendo, what have you. The only
Do you,
downfall is that they cost like $50 used because they probably only make like 1,000 of them.
do you ever watch any of JonTron's videos by chance?
Not really.
He
I
actually, we earlier we were talking about there's that one. I mean, this is going probably like a few months back, but you were saying like, man, we were on like Let's Plays before they really even happened. But looking back, we were actually doing more of kind of like an earlier version of what JonTron is doing. Only JonTron does a lot better, has a lot more production value into his thing
Well,
now.
that's just because he has a lot of
But
money.
oh no, he's really good. I like his videos. He and plus, you got to start somewhere. If you look at his earlier videos, it
Oh
looks
yeah,
like
no, no.
that.
I'm just saying,
So
like,
where
whenever
he's
I
at
see
now,
quality, I just go, he has money. You know, that's how
yeah.
quality happens.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if you look at his older stuff, he definitely started off like around where we were at. Now he kind of really pushed it and got a lot better. And he had one about like, and a lot of times he'll do that. He'll focus. It's usually sometimes if it's like a game he really doesn't like, he'll just focus on it and come up with it. And sometimes we really will like attack like cynicism. But really, if you really don't like something, then something that can, and if there is like some sincere hate to it, I think that itself can be good. It's more of like when you oh, what can we attack today? I think when you more go to that perspective.
Well, yeah, when
And
you see those shows on YouTube where it's just all it is just
honest
hate,
trailers,
hate, hate, hate,
well,
and
it's like
that's
honest
always kind
trailers
of
or some
just like
bullshit.
it gets to a point where it's just obnoxious after a while. It's just like, because realistically, that's the easiest form of comedy. It doesn't take much to like talk crap on something. All you gotta do is watch a movie. If you point out all its faults, it's like yeah, of course you can go and nitpick that to death and then try to turn that into comedy. But
But
if you make up
he's
your own shit or talk even positive on something, that's even better.
but he actually, I want to say his stuff usually it's at least educational. I feel like I'm learning something because so often, I mean, sometimes it's commonly known stuff, but it's usually like a genre of game you didn't really know about or just really obscure things you haven't heard of.
Mhm.
And he usually, I think his humor is at least funny. And if it's could at least be funny and you feel like you're kind of learning something in the process, then I think it all balances out. It's more like something like honest trailers, like, well, what do you want us to make fun of today? And they're just kind of like picking out of a hat. That's kind of or
They
whatever just
literally
came
even
out.
say that at the end of their videos.
Yeah, like oh yeah, so that's
Who do you
that
want
kind of
us to like beat up next week?
yeah, yeah. So that's where it's kind of like when you take in submissions on like or not submissions, but you're taking like requests and like what do you want us to kick in the balls while it's down? Not even while it's down, but what do
It's
you want us to
literally
go,
like you're the bully at school, and somebody
what do you
like
want
give
us
me
to go
five
make
bucks
fun
and
of?
I'll beat up anybody you want here.
Yeah, yeah. Like there was one like ripping on Skyfall, and like I know it doesn't have to be your favorite 007 film, but they're like, get ready for Skyfall, one of the most overrated 007 films ever made, with very obscure, gratuitous, like long scenery shots, and just shows like a minute of just like long shots, and just like, well, yeah, well, of course, when you edit it that way and you take it out of context, that's how it's gonna fucking look. He says, and lots of like and then like lot like implying that 007 once maybe and I think they even like bleeped out like sucking dick or whatever, and like that it's just one of those things like really it's so easy just to kind of like edit something and then like re-edit it and just trying to point out flaws. It's just one of the easiest things you can do. That's why I don't really that's not what I'm talking about. John Sean, we got off topic there, but no. What was I saying? Oh yeah, John Sean had a video because you're talking about weird obscure like fan made things or bootleg things that people would make.
Mhm.
He had one on like bootleg Pokemon games, and like they had a bunch of like there's like a Super Nintendo one where it was like a side-scrolling Pikachu game, but you
Yeah, it's
would
for Sega Genesis. That came out like a long time ago.
yeah he focused on that. There's another one. It actually kind of went through like the line. And at one point, like the last thing is just like they start playing like the song when you what was it when you go into like the morgue or whatever or the funeral tower whatever the fuck it was
Yeah, I
the
know which town you're talking about.
there
Can't think of what it's called at the moment, but it'll come to us.
yeah, the graveyard, the Pokemon graveyard, whatever it was. When you go inside, they start playing that song, and like a black cartridge of Pokemon are flying. Oh my God, this is the band cartridge of Pokemon that all those Asian kids disappeared after playing. What's the worst thing that could happen? I'm just gonna see what you see them plugged in. The way when they show them actually insert it into like the Super NES like a adapter thing for the Game Boy. It's very lit, very dark, looks hella creepy. Just him pushing this cartridge in and turns it on. Then all of a sudden a Haunter appears on the screen. He gets sucked into the thing, and then like it says like Welcome, John. Like, he's like part of the game now. He's like stuck in the game, like The Shining. So,
It's pretty funny. Yeah, I remember when that one came out because it was like 2000 or something like that. I want to say it was like early days of like getting ROMs, and I saw it on there like, what the fuck? So I had to go off and download. You know what? There's actually an official. I don't know if he had that on there. There's an official game of Pokemon for Sega. This is mind blowing. For
what?
remember that Sega thing that came out in the '90s called the Sega Pico?
Yeah, the
It
name
was
sounds
kind of like it
familiar.
was like kind of like the a kids kind of Genesis sort of, where they had
Kind
learning
of.
games and shit. There was actually a Sonic
Okay.
one. And it had a
Yeah.
stylus and everything.
And I want to say there was even like a Lion King one or some
Yeah,
shit.
there
Yeah.
was Lion King. There was some Disney stuff. It was all kind of geared towards like educational games.
Uh-huh.
That thing I think sold from like 1993 or 4 to like 2003. Like they made
Oh,
games for
really?
like
That
that
long?
long.
Oh, I didn't
There's
know that.
literally a Pokemon game for that.
Well, that okay.
It's once again it's like an educational thing, but still think
Yeah.
about it though. That is at a time when Sega's still making systems,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's a
I guess that
Nintendo game.
counts.
So that it only came out in Japan, of
Mm-hmm.
course.
Yeah. I actually, so I that kind of blows your mind when you stop to think about it. Like that actually happened. I mean, now we live in it's not as a shock in this day and age because now we live in an age where you can play Smash Brothers and Sonic is in there, and
You can go skiing with Mario and Sonic.
you can go see the Avengers. Well, plus, it also seems weird. I mean, I
Plus,
guess the
because that was
first
always
one
like your goal in life. It's like, if I could just go skiing with Mario and Sonic, that's all I
play
want. If I could
play
just be on the
play
Alps,
curdling,
yeah.
play curdling with them. Maybe go like play maybe row a boat with them too. Yeah. No, that was like one of those things. Like of all the things you could actually put those two in a game for, because I remember when it was like when it was first announced, like Smash Brothers, like oh my god, this is fucking huge. And then like after that, you're just like oh yeah, now there's gonna be a game where they're in tennis and they're doing Olympic events. Like really? I thought we'd get to something else before that. I thought that would be maybe a later one. I didn't know that was gonna be the defining things that brings these two together.
And I think those games sell really well too because
They keep coming out with them
yeah,
this
they
year.
keep coming out with them all the time. So somebody's fucking buying them.
I
And
thought
maybe
we'd have
they're
to. So
probably
I
those
thought we'd
kind
have
of
to.
weird like family games where it's like my kid likes Mario and Sonic, but I like sports. This is how we connect.
It's probably kind of like an expanded version of say like Wii Sports or something like that.
Oh, I didn't even think of it like
Probably
that.
even
That's
more of
probably
a
true.
probably more like a brand. Plus, you got like a bigger brand name behind it, so two bigger brand names to get sell more systems for it. Because if I was a kid, I would have bought it just for like these two fuckers are in a game together. But now it's just like yeah, I got Smash Brothers.
Yeah, but if I traveled from like my 8-year-old self to the future, like it would have blew my mind seeing that. Well, probably
Yeah,
first and foremost, it would have blown my mind because I've skipped from like N64 all the way up to like Wii U.
you'd also
But
probably get your mind blown the fact that you just time traveled. You know?
yeah, that's the least of my worries at that point. Once I see this humongous jump in gaming,
You're just like, I time travel my whole life. It's different. You look at you see like your Wii U. You're like, what the fuck is that?
what do I put the cartridge in?
That's when older you puts your hand on your shoulder. There is no cartridge.
It's like your Sega CD, only better.
And then he dies of a heart attack right there. Then you die too because it's your past self.
Speaking of
It's like,
Sega
oh
CD,
shit, I shouldn't have done this. This was bad planning.
speaking of Sega CD, you know what I was thinking of? You throughout the years, Sega always kind of releases these collections for like Genesis games and Sonic games. I mean, at first for GameCube, we got the Sega Mega Collection,
Mm-hmm.
and then there was the kind of the Sega, the second one. What was it? That had the 3-pack. It had Sega CD or Sonic
Yeah.
CD, Sonic the Fighters, and Sonic R. And then for the 360, they released the most amazing Sega one, which was like every Genesis game that Sega made, pretty much, except for it doesn't have like Return of Shinobi and like the second Shinobi or technically third Shinobi game, which I don't know why that is, but it has practically everything else. But one thing I would really like to see is why don't they make a collection where they put like all or at least a good handful of their 32X games and Sega CD games, the Sega ones,
Mm-hmm.
onto like a kind of like a collection just like that, where they put it in like 720p, high graphics, they put the saving in there because that Genesis one, like you play any of those games on there, it's like they look so good. They're like better than any ROM, better than playing the original system, because you're playing the game through like an HDMI cable and everything. How cool would it be just to have that for pretty much your Sega CD, D games in 3-2X. 'Cause 3-2X always gets fucking like
They did
put in the
kind of
corner.
just they did just kind of like abandon all, with the exception of Sonic CD. Everything Sega CD and 32X just seems to be kind of like, oh yeah, that happened.
Well, it's one thing I think is kind of weird. It's like on that Sonic, the second collection that came out. What the fuck was that one called?
Yes, Gems collection. You
Yeah,
would think
Sonic
they would have
Gems
had the
collection. Why
Knuckles.
was Sonic Knuckles Chaotix not in there? I always went like, what the fuck? How hard is it to put that one on there? Maybe they're
Yeah,
just really trying to forget about that one. Like that didn't happen.
well, that game really only had the only really good games on there were like Sonic CD. And this is
Are
even
you
so
talking
much.
about CD or 3-2X?
We're talking about Gems collection.
Oh yeah. We're
Gems
not
collection.
fuck that. We're not talking about those two old systems.
Oh no, I was just talking because you're saying on the second one, the only really good games on there. They could have thrown that one on there because the only one good games on there were like really Sonic CD. And this game's not even that great. It's more fun and nostalgia, and it's so weird. It's cool to have it on there. Sonic the Fighters.
Yeah.
And then
Well, it was just cool just to have a copy of that because there was no way to get that prior unless
So
you
it was a-
went
it was
out and
a
bought the
con-
arcade system.
yeah, yeah.
You're like, I got
And
$2,000. What am I going to spend it on? Sonic the Fighters.
and then like after 1 week, you're like, yeah, it's not as fun as I remember being when I was a
Should
kid.
have got
So I remember,
Lost World instead. That would have been a much better investment.
no, but when I remember when I first came across that game as a kid, I was just stumbling through a Qzar at like something that a lot of younger generations don't know of. Do you remember Qzar?
I don't think so. Where
Maybe it was just maybe there's only a handful of locations.
was that in
Qzar
San
was a
Jose?
laser, yeah, it was a laser tag place in San Jose.
Yeah, we
And
didn't
they
have,
didn't have
the closest thing was what's the one in Modesto called? Laser Quest. That was the one that was there. Now is Qzar, is that the one that's got the fucking like 3 stories of laser tag?
they heavily emphasize on laser tag, and some places you went to they would have that, but the one I had was just a simple like 1 story laser tag thing.
Because that was the one thing that there'd always be that kid in school who's like, oh yeah, there's this place, off in the great distance, 3 hours from here. It's it's a trek to go there. You have to have a really good birthday coming for it. He's like, and it's mind blowing. There's 3 levels, 3 stories of laser tag. Can you fucking believe that?
I remember there was like
Can you fucking believe that?
turns into Stone Cold Steve Austin for a second.
He's like,
Breaks a chair over
it's
his
so
friend's
cool
head.
Stone Cold's even there playing laser tag with you. It's fucking 1999. Come on, Attitude Era.
You got to pay him $900 every 5 minutes to do it, but still, he's there.
And then the other people, they get Kane on their team, so it's just fucking awesome. And you're just thinking like, wow, that's so cool. Hopefully this guy's not just making all this shit up.
He probably is.
It's like, that's okay because, my uncle's George Carlin and fucking Dio raised me out of the crowd.
That fucking kid. No, there's always that one guy that tries to one up you. And there's literally a guy we went to high school with who talked about how George Carlin was his uncle. And when you first meet him, it's kind of like, all right, one surprising thing he says is like, oh, really? Okay, cool. Why would you lie to me? Like, yeah, George Carlin's my uncle. He came over for Thanksgiving. He's really funny. We don't see him that much, but every once in a while, this and that. He's a hella cool guy. Went on. Then he went to Ozfest, and then I think it was Zach Wilde
I think it
pointed
was
him out.
Dio for some reason.
Dio? It was Dio. He's just like, yeah, he was playing in the crowd, and then he just pointed directly at me in the front row and
told me to get up
nodded.
and suck his dick on stage. So I did.
Yeah.
And everybody was cheering me on.
Even as I swallowed and worked the shaft, yeah.
And then when he cummed on me, it was all black and gruesome and dark.
I turned into one of those shadow things from Kingdom Hearts and gained demonic powers.
And then a bunch of mangy dogs came out and licked me. It was all part of the show too, but like special for me. And then George Carlin came on and threw a bucket of ice water on me.
Then the whole crowd cheered for me. Yeah. Yeah, he was one of those guys.
And it was the best day
ever. Just cuts like some like night like some like 90s like late afternoon like kids sitcom. He's just writing in his diary. That's the last episode. Like every episode ends like it was the best day ever. The end.
What were you saying about the laser or the Qzar?
I fucking forgot.
I think Sonic the Arcade.
Oh no, that Sonic game. There's because they didn't have a whole lot there. Like games wise, there was not a lot going on. They had that one. I have no idea how they got that one. 'Cause it was such a weird game. Now I remember it was one of those situations where I was at a kid's birthday party. I even liked the kid, but it was like one of those things that
Go to Qzar.
Well, no, it was. This is what happened. There's two Ryans. This is like second or third grade. There's like two Ryans in the class, and then one. I even like this kid.
So what? The invitations got mixed up. It was supposed to go to
the
other
invitations got mixed up, and what happened was I actually his like invitation to the other Ryan ended up in my back when you were a kid. This I don't know. This took me back just saying this word, but cubby because you all had your own little cubby.
Oh yeah, I remember having cubbies.
And
on the invitation did say bring $100 so we can have Stone Cold on our team.
If we bring $200, he's gonna break a chair over one of our heads.
It'll be awesome.
It's you. No.
Oh yeah, bring $200 too. We're not fucking paying for it.
What? I'm already inviting you to the party. Bring a fucking gift too, cheap prick. Yeah. No, it was literally one of those things. I got a like invitation. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Maybe he's not so bad after all. And then I went up and like, hey, man, which Qzar is it? Is it this one or is it that one? He says, and he was actually one of those kids that had kind of like he had kind of like, I don't know what you'd call it, like lingering R when he would talk or lingering L. Like he says, oh no, it's not that one. It's like he's just like, oh no, that invitation wasn't for you. He wasn't like he was a white American kid, yet he had one of those weird kind of like
Cuban fucking Italian accents all mixed together, like he's from like New Jersey.
Kind of like that, something like that to that effect. Like I don't watch Big Bang Theory that much, but there's that one guy. It almost sounds what it sounds like. It sounds like someone doing a very mocking Asian accent, but it's actually a white guy. But you know what I mean? That's how he talks regularly.
Which one guy in Big Bang?
There's like one guy. He comes in like he's only in a few episodes, and I'll be honest, I watched the first 2 seasons, but
those are the ones that are like the best seasons. Then after that, then the show kind of panders to like an audience who just kind of likes to go like, look, they're fucking nerds. Let's see them do regular people things because they're not real people.
Yeah, that's how it kind of felt. And I had a friend that was kind of, he would twist my arm into watching the show. And at first I didn't like it, but as time went on, I grew to like it more. But I just kind of, fell off it. Anyway, but there's one guy who kind of had this accent I'm talking about. And it'd be like, like for instance, like I'll just say the kid's name just because I can say like, because his name was Jeremy. So he'd be like, I could almost imagine, like, I remember one time my brother made a joke, like, how do his parents talk? Like, Jeremy, dinner is ready, kind of like that. So that's how I almost got to say the guy's name in preparation for it. So, like, oh no, that invitation wasn't for you. That was for the other Wyan. So you can't come.
Suck my balls, Wyan, you fucking prick.
And then later, I guess he told his mom or some shit. He's like, oh yeah, that's the reason he didn't get it because I gave it to the wrong Wyan.
Mom, I said no Irish people coming to my party.
I don't want no fucking mix at my party, Mom.
You know how it is.
Tell him to go.
Our family don't have no Irish people. I don't think I'm gonna retarded. Like, yeah, you did.
Actually, it sounds more retarded than anything else. Yeah. Like, I told him to go fuck himself and go eat his potato batch. Okay, Mom? Go let him go look for some fucking leprechauns to suck his dick. So.
If anything, he's just gonna give me a bag of Lucky Charms, and I fucking hate Lucky Charms, Mom. You know that.
It's almost kind of like
Fruit Loops in this house. You get fucking used to it. So take me there, and you're gonna pay for Stone Cold Steve Austin to be on my team.
Pretty much. So, yeah, then he said, later he called me back, I'm sorry, I actually did mean to bring it for you, so you can come if you want. I don't know why. I'm like,
he also sounds like fucking Elmer Fudd.
I guess that's a better way, the Fudd. We'll just say it's the Fudd. That's
like Elmer Fudd's fucking grandchild.
Yeah. So, and that's when I'm like, okay. And I remember everybody, this is around when Space Jam came out and everybody was talking about how much they love Space Jam. He says, I don't want to see that movie. I'm like, so I'm like, okay, for his birthday present,
I'm getting Michael Jordan.
I hate Michael Jordan and Bugs Bunny. It's all about, it's only Mickey Mouse in this house, Mom. No Bugs.
My grandfather, he was hunting that Bugs Bunny for years. He never fucking got it because that guy's a fucking asshole.
And that wabbit eventually made him go to hang himself. That's why Grandpa Fudd don't come to Thanksgiving no more, Mom. No, so he ends up I end up like, well, this guy don't like me, I don't like him, I'm going to his party regardless. I'm getting him a Space Jam toy, and I know he doesn't like Space Jam, so fuck him.
Myself.
Yeah, and then like so they're all kind of like, once the laser tag thing and cake happened, we were all hanging together. But as soon as that was done, I was like, okay, fuck these guys. I'm like, oh, what the fuck? And it's like Sonic the Fighters. I was just like, oh, I'm good over here. I'm good over here. Yeah, yeah.
I just a couple times like I'm awake, right? This isn't a fucking dream where I'm stuck with fucking Elmer Fudd's grandson, is it?
Yeah. So I was just like, oh. Yeah, that's all I did the whole time, and I just kind of like I had about like $4 in quarters. I want to say it was like the game was 50 cents a play. So
that means it was an expensive one back then.
Yeah, so I just spent the whole time doing that.
It's that's one thing I miss, and this is all kind of due to the internet that makes this not really possible. It's that when you can just walk into somewhere and be like, what the fuck? I've never even heard of this. Because that just doesn't happen anymore. It's like you see a book, it's like, oh, I knew that was coming out. I saw that in fucking online. Amazon recommended it to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
It's so hard to go and just go. You've had that mind-blowing experience where you find something, you're like, this is the coolest thing ever.
That mind-blowing experience doesn't happen when you first discover it. It happens not like when you come across it or see it in theaters. It happens when you like see like news about it. You know about it beforehand, saying this might happen, and then it's kind of up in the air if it does happen, and say it is happening, and then that's when you get time to kind of judge and sit back for a second, and that's when the trailer or whatever comes out or details come out, so you can kind of form your opinion as it's moving along. You can't form a real concrete opinion until it's out, but you can kind of slowly develop that opinion. So there really is no real big shock, like what the fuck,
Like, it's not like you just like one day said like I'm gonna go to the movie theaters today, and then you just show up there and you're like, the fuck, they made a Batman Superman movie? What the? You're even like hyperventilating out there, having a fucking heart attack. You're like Whitey, you're on the floor having a seizure. You're like, because nowadays it's just like, okay, they're making a Batman movie. Oh, guess what? They're gonna put Superman in. Oh, okay, that's cool. Oh, guess what? They're gonna put Wonder Woman in. Oh, here's a screenshot. They just kind of build it on you, so it's not nearly as like exciting as if they just like one day fucking just popped up there in the theater.
Plus, they were talking about like that for years, but this is like, but still, when they were talking about it, was still at a time when it was like word might get out in a magazine. They're trying to do this. We'll see if it happens, and you wouldn't really get piece by piece like daily like you do today. I mean, you got entire websites and vlogs with people grabbing whatever information they can and throwing it out there.
Yeah,
and that right there, the Superman Batman one, that's like, I mean, I was kind of like, oh, cool, so that's actually happening, and it's actually going to happen. But then there is but there still was this. I still knew they were trying to work their way up to that, especially now because when you grow up, a lot of that mysticism kind of goes away. It's like, well, Avengers happened, so that means Justice League is going to happen eventually.
Well, yeah, your brain knows how these things work now. It's unlike before when you were a kid that. You still don't know how the rabbits pulled out the hat. You know what I mean?
You're being like, they're making Avengers and Justice League? Yeah, you're actually shocked. Now it's kind of like, oh, well, that means that, well, if this does good, this one's probably going to made as well. Oh, and it is, so.
I'll be damned.
Whether it be a movie or a comic book or just video games or anything, really, it's hard to get shocked, really. Unless it's like a world event beyond that. It's like,
You mean like a disaster?
Disasters or maybe something in politics. Beyond that, though, as far as I guess, just let's put it this way: entertainment and media. Beyond that, it's hard to be.
It's kind of a bummer too, because there's something really cool about discovering something just by walking into a store or an arcade or something like that you'd never seen before.
Yeah,
that's the one thing about classic gaming. It's kind of like it's so hard for me to find a game that I've never heard of or played or something that's like a really good game.
It's kind of like when you used to go when you were a kid and you would go to the movie theaters. You would almost be kind of like, maybe you'll see a trailer for this thing. But now you can almost break it down to a sense like, okay, this movie's coming out this time next year.
I'm watching a sci-fi movie, so it's probably going to be in here of this block.
Yeah, or it's something like, okay, it's a Disney like star. I don't know for a fact. I don't know for a fact. I'm just guessing. When Big Hero 6 comes out, I'm guessing there's probably going to be a trailer or at least a teaser, like a bare bones teaser for Star Wars, because Star Wars is coming out in like holiday season next year, and Big
Yeah.
Hero 6 is one of their big movies coming out this holiday season. So, just a rough guess, we're probably going to get a teaser for Star Wars.
I will say one that somewhat surprised me just because I did. It's like I knew that was coming out, but I just didn't realize it was coming out quick. Was when they had the Hateful Eight one came out.
That
Because
did
I
well. I
did
didn't even
not
see
expect that to come on. I did not think of that whatsoever.
Well, you had an idea that it was still coming out. I didn't know that it was. I thought he scrapped that after it got leaked. But I didn't even get that at my theater just because our theater, like, it only plays trailers to movies that are coming out. It didn't have that specialty thing right there. So it's just like, God damn it. I would have liked to see that. If I went to go see it, probably the big, like, you want to be this guy. I still like the small little cinema. But I'm also like, maybe I should have gone and saw that one at a big, like, AMC or something.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny too because the trailer's really just doesn't show any footage or anything, but it just is like, oh fuck, I'm so excited now.
Even if you go to YouTube though, you don't see the official like, Weinstein release version of the trailer or anything. It's always somebody with an iPhone or a smartphone in the theater. That's what it is every time.
Huh? That's weird.
At least maybe on my phone. Maybe I gotta go try looking it up on YouTube on my computer. But every time I look it up online, it's just someone recording it off their phone, which you're like, it's a movie trailer. You think you'd want to advertise it, let it be out there.
Yeah, and
That's
let's.
kind of annoys me about Comic Con because whenever they have something come out for Comic Con, I mean, yeah, I know that you want to be there to see it, but it just annoys me that like day after Comic Con, they're pulling all this shit down. It's like clearly you want people to know about it. So you pay the big bucks for it to get out there. And why do you give a shit if people release it afterwards? The event's done and you want word to spread about this thing. So why are you just flagging all these videos of people recording it at Comic-Con? I don't see what the big fucking deal is. Granted, that's coming from someone who doesn't have a dime in it, but still, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that's a weird one too. It's like I can understand if they have like.
Beforehand.
Well, sometimes they have like at some of those events they have like secret kind of like showcases, and that's different there because that's only for special people.
Yeah.
It's weird though when they have one that they're showing to everybody there.
Like Hall H, anything in Hall H.
Yeah, and then they all of a sudden they say, "Oh, can't show that to the public now." If they don't have the money to come to Comic Con, then they can't fucking see it.
And everybody's gonna write about it and talk about it, podcast about it, blog about it.
So they're gonna hear about it, so might as well show it.
Yeah, and it's like, you're willing to show these people who paid to get in here. They're just, I mean, I understand it. I mean, it's, I don't see what the big fucking deal is. I mean,
everybody in the U.S. can't fucking go to Comic Con to see that.
Yeah, and you want to advertise it, you want it to get out there. So I don't see why all these movie companies are so like just hell bent on keeping it offline after Comic Con until they get the official like trailer released.
I don't know. It's just a weird one. It's like that because there's those little clips of the Superman, Batman thing. It's just like, why don't you fucking show that? Make that your little teaser trailer.
I looked it up and I saw that it's made so quick, but it's something there, and I think
that's what I mean
like,
though. It's like
anybody who like, I mean, really, when you think about it, you could just be. It's so vague. The only thing that I think that really gets people super excited that we see Ben Affleck in the Dark Knight Returns bat armor, and he flips on the light. It's the Dark Knight Return. It's the Dark Knight Returns bat symbol, and Superman appears in the sky. They're just staring each other down. It's just Batman v Superman. So then that right there, I mean, really, when you say it that much, that doesn't sound that exciting. But I think the fact that we're just gonna like, oh, it's the bat suit. I think most people be like, so they stare at each other. Big deal,
Yeah, well, it's just one of the ones like that should just be your little teaser trailer. Put it on the internet. Show it at Comic Con, and once Comic Con's over, put an official one up there.
I'm trying to think because that movie comes out 2016, so they're already getting ahead of time of the trailer. We're probably going to see like a big official trailer for it. We're probably going to get little snippets of it here and there, but we're going to see the big official trailer for it come summer 2015.
Is there a DC movie that comes out in that time period? Is there really any other DC movie that's coming out on that one at the moment?
I don't know.
It's not scheduled for like way down the line.
I don't really know. It seems that like DC, I think before like they seemed like they're trying to rush it. Now I think they're trying to take their sweet time because before they're like, Justice League, okay, go, and now they kind of like, we're rewriting Justice League, rewriting it again, switch director. The guy from Army Hammer is gonna be Batman. Wait, no, he's not. So I think
Well, you think they would just have this surplus of money because it's not like DC movies haven't been successful. I mean, look at fucking Dark Knight, look at Man of Steel. They made quite a bit of money, so it's not like they had a bunch of like flawed movies that nobody came and saw. So now they're kind of like, fuck, now we just gotta like focus our money on there. You know,
even all the complaints people had for Man of Steel or Dark Knight Rises, those movies still made a fuck ton of money.
Exactly.
Even if like, because a lot of people do dislike those movies, but I think more people like at least the Batman ones. But they definitely made a lot of money, so I don't see why. I mean, I think plus that one, it's also that's what kind of annoys me. It's like the first Superman movie that had the budget to say, guess what? Superman's gonna punch a fucker into a building and he's gonna crumble down. He's gonna come up and keep fighting. It was like the first movie to have the effects and the money for it, and it did a good job of that.
Yeah, because in Superman 2, he gets chucked into like a billboard, and that's about as close as we kind of get.
And you understand that's what they had for the time, and they have they kind of like slowly glide in and then punch. It's like that's all they had for the time.
So you got to kind of make do with what you got.
I get that,
but it's like, well, what you got too. It's like, yeah, they show all this stuff, and they're like, it's like, he punches people in the comics through buildings, he punches people in the fucking like animated show. Now we get in live action, and then people bitch about it. It's such a fucking weird thing. Just like,
look, here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna say when like two superpowered gods from space punch each other in the balls, shit's gonna break.
Mm-hmm. Look at fucking Dragon Ball Z. It's just what happens.
Shit's gonna break. Just what? I'm gonna be honest. I mean, Superman. I mean, I don't think. I mean, people were making out to be like he was like, if there was like a baby carriage near him, he'd pick up the baby carriage and start beating Zod with it. They're making it out to be like that, or like a bus full of like church going school children come by. Superman grabs that, like whacks Zod. Yeah, to whack Zod into like an orphanage. They're kind of making it out to be that's what happened. It's like, no, they punch each other through fucking buildings. It happens all the time, and that's what's cool. They were in there. Fuck them.
But you never return the death and return of Superman. I mean, like, what does he do in the very beginning of that book when they're fighting, or not the beginning of the book, but I guess the end of the first book, they're fighting Metropolis and fucking Smallville, destroying the shit out of everything.
Yeah.
It's just, you can't just like go easy on Doomsday now.
Yeah. It's just like, and I want to say, I mean, I don't always agree with them, but I still like them. We were talking about earlier about cynicism. I actually do like these guys. They actually, I don't always agree with them, but I still think they're at least funny. How it should have ended had one for Godzilla. Now, I didn't see Godzilla, but I heard enough about it, so I kind of got the idea. So I watched their How It Should Have Ended. And when Godzilla's leaving San Francisco as it's all destroyed, everyone's cheering. You see Superman watching TV at home. Just flies up and then lands down like in front of. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. So I crash into a few buildings. You guys get on my ass and just... I mean, I snapped one guy's neck that was going to kill a whole family and a whole planet, and everyone's pissed off at me. But this guy just destroyed a whole city, killed a bunch of your friends, your family, all this stuff, and you're going to let him go by. They just kind of stare at him blankly and start clapping and cheering.
Well, yeah, that's kind of weird, too. You think about that new Godzilla movie, it's like the same thing as kind of Man of Steel, like that kind of like destruction level, and nobody bitched about that once.
And he was like, so everyone's going to get on me about that, but no one's getting... Oh, all right, fine, I'm done. I'm done. Just flies away. People start clearing and clapping again. Then Godzilla jumps in the water, does a belly flop, and then it makes a tidal wave, destroys the whole city.
You should see that Godzilla movie because I think it came out on DVD a couple weeks ago or something like that. It's pretty good.
Mixed things about it. You say it's pretty good?
I say it's pretty good. I'm not gonna say it's not as good as Pacific Rim, but it's Pacific one of those ones like it has a lot of. I will say it does have a bit of nonsense scenes in it where nothing's really happening and it's kind of like emotion, people, lives.
I guess they had that in the original ones, but at the same time, I kind of past that.
They did in a sense in some of the original ones. Because I remember as a kid, like, it used to be those ones like, I don't really like the talking too much. Can we get to like the fucking what is there something going off? Is Godzilla coming to San Francisco right now? I don't know. You're
not that I know.
Stick your headphones up. You're looking left and right. Oh fuck, he's coming again.
Somebody just got home, but I don't think I have anything to worry about it.
But it's the thing is like, okay, if the movie's like an hour and 40 minutes or something like that. There's probably only 30 minutes of action in it. I'm going to say that. There's not a ton of it, but the action that's in it is really fucking good. I mean, my only complaint is it takes kind of a while for them to show Godzilla, and there is some of this kind of dumb melodrama crap in it. But I think if you kind of just put that on the buy side and just go whatever, the scenes that are in it are really fucking good, and it's totally worth it just for that part. I guess because there's also that thing. It's like I've never seen Godzilla look that good before.
Because it actually looked more like Godzilla rather than. Because I'll be honest, and I feel like people are gonna say Scream when they hear me say this. Shut the fuck up, given how much shit I talk on some of the movies this guy's made. But I actually one of the few movies I like by
Roland Emmerich.
Roland Emmerich. And I feel a little bad for saying this because I know it's not amazing, and I know it's not even that great of a movie, but I actually like his Godzilla movie. I like it. I'm not in love with it.
I like it too. I actually like Roland Emmerich. I'm one of those people, like, I actually think that he has good movies. Some of my favorite movies are actually from him, strangely enough.
I like Patriot. I like Stargate. His Shakespeare movie was, I don't need to go out and buy it, but I enjoyed it. Godzilla. I'm like one of the few people who there is like a sense of nostalgia for like Independence Day, but that movie to me, it's just
I love Independence Day. I think that movie's so fucking awesome. That movie never gets old. Every time I watch it, I'm like, oh, fucking 1994 all over again.
I think there's maybe nostalgia to me for that movie, but really as a movie, it's one of those ones that's just so cheesy to me now. But I still, I guess there's some enjoyment to be had. I guess I just hate his like big ass fucking tidal wave. I hate Day After Tomorrow. I fucking hate Day After Tomorrow. I know there's worse movies than Day After Tomorrow, but I just fucking hate that movie. And I
actually kind of like that movie. I think that's probably one of my least favorite of his movies, but I still actually enjoy it. I guess because those are the kind of movies like I kind of put aside the characters in a sense, it's like you kind of first and foremost come to a disaster movie to see the special effects more than anything else. Not saying because there's disaster movies that have good characters in it. Like I think Twister is a good example of that, and that's kind of a forgotten movie by nowadays.
Well, like Day After Tomorrow, we got about probably maybe 15 minutes of cool disaster shit. Then we got like, let's huddle around a fire in this library.
That's an old book now.
Don't burn that one.
Don't fuck the book either. Jesus Christ.
I'm doing it to keep warm.
I guess now you can burn it. I mean, nobody's gonna read it now. It's all stuck together.
I'd rather read that. I rather see that movie.
See the fucking Spider-Man wannabe guy fucking a book.
Yeah. With like not Bulma from Dragon Ball Evolution, like as his love interest. But no, that movie, like it's one of those things like
2012.
There's worse movies. I didn't want to see it because it just looked like the same type of shit.
2012 is actually pretty cool. They do a much better job than like the Day After Tomorrow.
And plus, it's just like one of the stupidest fucking trailers. I mean, I know they try to make it epic, but the teaser trailer was so fucking stupid. Like, how would the world lead us when how would the world leaders warn us when the fucking world's about to end or whatever bullshit, And then like you see a dude like hitting a gong like on the Himalayan mountains, just this fucking tidal wave coming over, like knocking over. Day wood in 2012. The world's gonna fucking end. Yeah, that's kind of like I think that's kind of like what they had at the board meeting. Like, what are people afraid of? 2012, the world might end. Maybe we should make a movie about that. Yeah, maybe we should. That's kind of like the conversation I think I heard. Who's good at making shit blow up? The Godzilla Independence Day guy. Yeah, let's get that guy. Like, day after Independence, Godzilla Day.
12.
Yeah. I think that's how they kind of like. No, because I do really like Stargate. I never saw the show, but I do like the movie a lot. So he's not a bad director. I just don't like a lot of the stuff he chooses to make sometimes. And Ominous, which is a really random movie, was actually I enjoyed it. I don't need to go out and buy it, but I enjoyed it.
I think it's one of those ones because it's like Patriot. I just find amazing. I put that in my high list of like favorite movies.
Except I can't help but laugh. Like, we're paid.
No. That's like the one line. It's just like I was fucking like a kid when that came out, and I was like, really? Did they just say that? That is as 90s as fuck. That really is when you think about it, because like the 90s kind of that time. Like, yeah, man, it's like we're all cool now. When like we all hang out at Burger King, fuck, everybody's allowed.
Oh, we'll get back to Burger King, but no, there's like that. There's that part where the kid like gets shot by the evil general, Gets shot by Malfoy's dad.
Yeah.
And
Well, I always think of that guy as Tavington. That's where I always think of him. Because when I saw Harry Potter, I was like, holy fuck, they put Tavington in here. That was badass.
And like in the real life, I want to say that guy, he didn't like get killed right there. He just lost his arm in that battle and was disgraced or whatever, something like that. But like the real life Tavington, I think. But
in real life, he just actually killed the fuck out of the Mel Gibson character.
And teabagged him.
Just teabagged him over and over again like he was in Halo or something.
There's actually an illustration, like a war illustration of that.
Very famous in England.
Says in remembrance of Lord Tavington, you know.
He's
actually drinking tea while doing it. He has a little teacup in his hand, drinking it. Be pretty pinky up and all. You gotta be British about it. You gotta be proper as fuck.
Well, like the Patriot, they really do paint that movie like England is so evil. Look how evil they are. Tavington, he burnt a church down with a bunch of people inside it. America would never do that. Look at America. They have a black guy on their side. Even though he can't read or write, that's okay. Because he's going to be free in about 100 years. Well,
not right away.
We'll kind of allow him to kind of, allow him to be like a janitor or something. Maybe 50 more years. I don't know. Fuck it. Who cares? You're here for America, right? Patriot. Mel Gibson. He's as American as fuck.
American as fuck. I could have just played, like, I know it's a few years beforehand, but just play Team America World Police for the credits of that song.
Yeah. Exactly.
I was watching Captain America 2 the other day, and I was thinking, I love this movie, but they really could have used, like, America, like in some fight scene somewhere.
And they could have used the Sad America one, like, in other parts.
Well, like he said, when he's having like a flashback about like when Bucky died, you could just play that song. Come again to see the motherfucking day. Oh no, it's the part where they're getting back from like Steve's mother's funeral. That part when they had the flashback. No, but I was gonna say they're like something that, in real life, because chances are people back in 1776, they not trying to be this guy. I'm sure there was maybe a few outstanding ones, but a lot of people probably weren't that good at people. So when that kid, I bet when like, everyone was so sad, like all like, even saw the slaves, they were sad when the kid died. When that kid was probably a prick to those slaves. So they're probably like, yeah, just not even like, it's like so pleasurable. They don't even smile. They just kind of squint their eyes like Clint Eastwood and just go like, yeah, like kind of grit their teeth a little bit.
Just like,
yeah, feels good.
Yeah, you thought he was nice to all of us. You know what? You thought he was this great guy, but he was a fucking joker to us. I tell you what, he tortured us every day.
When like Mel Gibson's like, no, like slaves, bury him. Why me and my wife weep? He says like, yes sir, yes sir. They're like, guys, here's a chance we could do that thing we always talked about. The thing we always fucking talked about.
Execute Plan X.
They just like slow, but like it's like a reenactment basically of that scene in like in Office Space where they're beating the shit out of the printer.
So they're beating the shit out of Mel Gibson's
his son, just like they're like, die motherfucker, die, just like beating the corpse out of this kid. Like in slow motion. They just did an abrupt cut back to the funeral scene, like, he was a better man. Like, yes, sir, he was a better man. They look like, it was fucking worth it. It was fucking worth it. If these redcoats win, I don't give a shit, man. This shit was worth it. Yes, sir, yes.
Because a lot of those guys are going like, if those redcoats win, they're like the exact same fucking people. Like, how are we supposed to know they're any better?
Yeah, so I want to see that deleted scene now.
But other than that, though, it's like The Patriot. That's one of the best fucking war movies I could possibly think of. Even though it's got kind of like that total like 90s optimism in that one.
There is just this overabundance of like 90s optimism in any like 90s war film.
Just like, anything.
Even though the movie like focused on things we didn't really think about, even like, because this is one of my favorite, I'm not even sure if we call it a war film, but I still love this movie. I guess you call it a war film, even though it takes place afterwards. Three Kings. Like,
it's pretty much a war film.
Yeah, it's pretty, even though it's after the war, it's almost, what I like about it, it's almost kind of like a modern day, like, Kelly's Heroes or like
Yeah.
Dirty Dozen. You know what I mean? This kind of like we're not exactly doing like we're not exactly doing the doing our jobs. We're just being kind of just selfish assholes going after like it's almost in it to an extent. I mean, I don't even know if they like each other, but it's almost kind of like a Quentin to an extent. It almost feels. I mean, still has its own style. It feels kind of like almost a Quentin Tarantino movie during the Gulf War.
Mm-hmm. Well, I got that movie in my collection in the war section.
Mm-hmm.
But fuck, where were we going?
Plus, you also get just how many movies did they get like explosive footballs? That's American as fuck right there. Just throwing fucking
the fucking Bart
explosive.
Simpson tied to the front of your Jeep.
Yeah, yeah.
No, that's a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I was thinking of.
I just bought a fuck ton of movies lately. I've only had a chance to watch one of them because I've been doing a little bit of this side project
Speaking
for a friend
of
of ours.
movies, did you get Beware the Batman, the second part, the last
I
part?
haven't watched it. I just got it the other day. I haven't watched it yet.
The sad
You
thing
can talk
is
about
that the
it.
fact that
Ends
that's
another
the end of
cliffhanger.
the show. No, it actually, well, not really. It does end like it concludes the story of what's going on, but it does. I mean, just like anything else, because Gotham's the never-ending fucking war. So it
I don't
does.
know if there will be a day where like, you know what, Gotham just said we're done.
Unless
with
Batman just goes like, I got a way to solve all this.
just pulls a gun out.
just like Daddy always said.
You don't like something, kill it.
Just go. That'd be the thing. It's just Batman just breaks down one day, pulls this rifle off the fucking wall that's like 150 years old.
Has like Archibald Wayne's like name engraved into it. Like,
just no. Take it back. It pulls this rifle off. It just pulls a musket off the wall. It's 300 years old. It's got a picture of Mel Gibson from The Patriot.
See, we got all this badass.
We had to tie this back in there somehow. Well, I really feel like that's the main reason why that generally superhero comics and where people don't kill each other is because they go, whoa. If you start killing people, we're just going to have no villains after a while.
I think that is the main thing. I think that's the real reason. Like, Robin's like Red Hood. Like, he has that whole in that Red Hood. There's that whole brilliant speech he gives. Like, if I kill him here, nothing's gonna stop me from. One sec, I got someone at the door. Hold up.
Okay.
Hold up. One sec. Get right back to you.
Okay.
MC 呢？係啊，action 嘅。
Yeah. Right here.
依家人流水嘛？
而家冇漏啦，佢上邊咧嗰個
廁所流啊！
唔係佢廁所啊，嗰個 steam heat 啊。
steam heat 流啊！
以前咯。
你呢度換唔換？
唔換啦，就係正
呢
常
邊唔換，就係呢邊呢埲牆咯，咪呢度。
呀。
係會。
你省咗佢，然之後 patching 啊，然之後咧sand，然之後咧。
你嗰啲啱上個轉玩我曲位置。
你知唔知道知啊？省咗佢，然之後咧 patching，
係啊
patching 咧，然之後咧再 sand 咧，然之後又有咁樣。
係啊，我知道。哦。
仲有啊，你睇埋嗰度先啊，我仲有一度。So if he doesn't speak English, I will make an appointment with you.
Okay.
And let him do it.
Okay. Thank you.
就咁就覆㗎啦，你呢度嗰啲鋪嗰啲唔使理㗎啦。
嗰度。
你嗰啲全部鋪晒㗎啦。
Is my video on your thing?
Yeah, your video's on.
Okay, because there was a second there, I was like, oh fuck, the guy turns, looks down, I was like, oh god, there's some guy looking at my crotch. Just because I was like, all those there, just like some Asian guy, just could see like his like.
I would just leave it there.
torso.
I would just leave it. I just go ahead, turn it on.
No, it's on right now.
It's recording. I just had it on, just like if shit goes down, we got a witness right on Skype.
I know.
Shit goes down, we got a camera going, we got a witness.
I always thought, I was like, dude, I should just leave that in there because it's just a couple guys come in and just start speaking Chinese. It's just like, what the fuck is going on in this podcast?
My room's a little. This building's basically a hole, and and I'm fine with that. It doesn't bother me, but I'm just gonna say it. I
You
don't
don't
get
have to phone
along.
my comics.
Pretty much, I have to move my comics to the other side of the room,
You get
and
umbrella. You go into your room, there's a bunch of umbrellas over everything.
I just after a while I had like a little like catch jar because it was when it was like because before the person's all the heaters here are like an automatic timer thing, and they're these old ass like steam heaters and it was leaking, so dude ahead of me for like almost 3 months this thing was just leaking real bad, and for a little while I had this little catch jar, and after a while I just said fuck it, and I just took down these cheap ass like I got these cheap ass just like rags and like old like old window curtains, just threw in the ground, fuck it, we'll just catch it, so I just got so I just have these
Close
ratty
enough.
old, yeah, that'll work.
Just gotta ring them out every once in a while.
And it stopped leaking, but this was a repair guy coming in to look at it and just get a glance at it. So, safe to say I don't get along with this guy so well. But I mean, not that
The repair guy is probably fine.
I don't know him. Yeah, I mean, the other guy, the landlord, it's like we don't butt heads, but it's just like
The
I
repair
don't
guy
trust
isn't.
him.
Yeah.
He's one of those. He's not exactly has the most, but cheap broom. What am I gonna do?
It's like, yeah, I guess you always gotta pay somehow. That's what I've learned in life.
There's no what they're like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like if
there's
something's
some
cheaper
strings
than it
attached.
should be, you're gonna pay for it without, in some other way.
He's not exactly the most trustworthy fellow, and I shouldn't go over details over on the podcast, but just not the most trustworthy individual. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna, in case some shit goes down.
He's not gonna
You know
be like,
what?
all right, and I was listening to your podcast the other day, and I see you like to talk about me, huh?
Oh,
Oh, I see. I also
that's so funny now, huh, Mr. Irishman? Huh? No, you like talk about the QSR, you talk about the Elmer Fudd boy.
okay,
Tell you this,
the Elmer Fudd boy's my cousin.
What cousin? I think I should probably yell this too loud. I don't want to do like an insulting Asian accent right when he's outside my fucking room.
Oh, he's still there?
I heard the door close.
Oh.
Maybe he is. I don't know.
Come on, where were we at? Beware the Batman, I think, right?
Yeah, you said
Yeah.
it kind of ends. It's still like, oh, the battle never ends. But
Well, kind
I
of
was
typical
hoping-
Batman fashion, but like,
I was hoping the show would last long enough for them to bring in. I mean, not that I was glad they were focusing on lesser known villains, but I wanted to go on long enough to see this show's interpretation of like more well known villains like Joker or Two-Face.
Two-Face is all part of the second section.
Really?
He's
He
Harvey
is?
Dent for like the 90% of it, and he becomes Two-Face
Okay.
towards the very end. Even though I don't
Okay.
yeah. So it's like,
That's
but
cool.
like they lead up to it where it's like, okay, you could see where, because pretty much it's Harvey Dent till the very end. You could see where Two-Face would have been like season 2's like first starting off main villain.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Did a good job with Two-Face?
yeah, they make him just Harvey Dent, just like be a usually like anti-Batman to the max.
Harvey Dent is? Oh,
Yeah.
so he's not likable, Harvey Dent at first?
No, he's not. They just which actually kind of makes a little bit more sense that like why he would go turn Two-Face, because what happens is there's an explosion in this one, and Batman knocks him out of the way, but he still gets like half his body burnt. So he sort of blames that on Batman. So he already hates Batman. Now he's fucking Two-Face, and Two-Face is caused by Batman. So he hates him even. It almost kind of. I think that actually works a little bit better than him being kind of like this regular nice guy, and then all of a sudden he has
still
this
like that
accident and he
more.
gets kind of pissed off.
I still like that more. I kind of like the
You like-
tragedy of. I like the tragedy that he is a good guy who just got pushed and pushed and pushed, and one day he just snapped. I like that.
Well, it's not
that
like he's
could
like a
still
bad
work.
guy. It's just like he's only a bad guy if you're Batman, I guess.
Well, no. I mean, it started off. The way it started off is he. It's kind of an example of why Batman doesn't kill and why Batman doesn't. Because this is. I mean, granted, everyone's a little different.
Yeah.
But the way it kind of works is he started off as like, look, I'm not gonna go out and like go rob a bank or nothing. I'm just gonna kill whoever gets in my way of killing the Falcones. Because look what the Falcones did to me. They gotta die. They're diseased in the city. They're gonna die. Fuck them.
Mm-hmm.
Stay out of my way. This has to happen. You're too much of a pussy to do what needs to be done. Then one thing leads to another. He says, all right, well, look, I just got to go. I got to team up with Joker and Catwoman and Mr. Freeze just to get this job done, make it a little easier on myself. Batman keeps on interfering. He's like, fuck you, fuck you. And he kind of reaches this point where he's just like, well, he's got nowhere else to go. And that's kind of what I like about Two-Face.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure when he was originally written, it was like, he got acid in his face, now he's evil. That's kind of the way I'm sure it was originally written. But now I think, that's kind of
well,
what
that's not
like.
how it's like in the Beware the Batman one. It's because the whole point of that show.
It's
not like it's kind of a different take on Batman. The whole thing, anyways.
And that doesn't bother me. I think that's all right. I think it's fine if they mix it up a little bit. I just prefer my Two-Face being like a nicer. Well, not nicer, not my Two-Face. I like my Harvey being the good guy, like a descent, like that descent to darkness kind of thing. I like that.
That's pretty much what this is. It's just he's not, because it's not like he's like a bad guy. You just kind of see a progressive of him kind of going, and then his kind of methods get more extreme to how to try to get Batman and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a point where he hires Deathstroke, but he doesn't realize Deathstroke's like a total villain. He just kind of, that's part of Deathstroke's plan, is to be hired by him. But he just thinks, like, fuck it, I'll just hire this top mercenary to take care of Batman. That will get rid of that problem for me.
To kill Batman, or just to get him out of the way?
Pretty much to kill Batman.
Okay.
Without saying that in the TV show, but
just like, look, I just want Deathstroke. This is what I want you to do. I want you just to tie him up and leave him alone in the room while I'm at this campaign. It's like, wait, you hired a guy named Deathstroke to tie him? Yeah. It's a fucking kid show. Come on,
But yeah,
I'm almost kind of expecting like that was the reason why, because there's that line, there's that great speech in Under the Red Hood, both the comic and the movie, when he says like, if I cross that line, I will be what's stopping me from doing everything else. But really, what he wanted to say is just like, look, Jason, second I kill these guys, what stopped me from killing all that? And the second I kill them, we're gonna have no one to fight. And who's gonna buy this? Who's gonna fight? Who's gonna buy this fucking book? I mean, come on, just put this arm around him. We need this. This shit is expensive. That bat boat, the bat plane, the bat copter, that shit is fucking expensive, man. I need some kind of. You think I need gasoline, specialty gasoline import, just the loops I gotta go through just to make that shit untraceable. Come on, man.
I'm not Peter fucking Parker here. I can't get by on like the bare essentials.
Yeah, I need Alfred. I love the guy dearly, but he needs.
Have you seen his pay stubs?
Yeah, he literally makes me to put up with the shit he's gone through for years and years. It can't be a normal check. I literally have to come up him with one of those giant fucking checks you see like in competitions people wins every day. That's the one thing. Alfred gets his one thing. He requests that he gets a giant cardboard check.
Like he's a professional golfer or something.
All right, so I need you to bear with me. That's the reason. I mean, I want to kill Joker, but that's the real reason I haven't killed Joker. So just bear with me on that, all right?
You see it like
like Red Hood still has the gun pointed at him this whole time. Like, are you fucking serious?
And the Joker's just kind of like there. He's like, he's like, yeah. Me and the Joker, we understand this. I mean, that's why he doesn't kill me either. It's this weird kind of like thing. We understand if we kill each other, we're just out of a job. It's just that's how it goes.
Joker looks at him, not crazy, like just like, yeah, that's pretty much the way it works, man. I mean, that you're kind of, I understand you're pissed off. I would be too, but it's just you got to come on. We're out of jobs. I took it a step too far. You can go ahead and hop back in anytime you want. That's what you can do. Like pistol whips the Joker. Hey, I'm just trying to be reasonable here. There is a supervillainy 401k. There is a health plan. It all works through with the Legion of Doom. Batman's with the Just League. So it kind of pans out for both of us. We just got to do this, I mean, it just helps sell. Like, Red Hood's like, I can't believe I'm fucking hearing this.
If Red Hood just stops, he goes, whoa. Then why the fuck was I killed? Yeah, Jason. See, now, readers chose for you to die, if you can believe it.
I tried to change their mind. I tried to talk them out of it. It was literally like 49 versus 51. Guess where 51 was? Sorry. But you're back, and that's what's important. They missed you. And it's like
they called back in or texted or fuck. I don't know what the fuck they did, but they brought you back, man. You should be fucking grateful. You got a job again.
He just like drops Joker, just like stumbles out of the room, just kind of in disbelief of all this, puts the gun in his throat. Oh, shit. Well, like, Batman looks at Joker. He's like, I guess, shit. See you tomorrow? No, maybe not tomorrow. Maybe next week. You need time to set this. Yeah, let's go with next week. Okay, yeah, I'll see you. Can you untie me? Yeah, just throws my batarang, just walks out.
Yeah, you got to get away or something. Make the story a little bit interesting.
You did this. Okay, shit. We are all right. Fuck, I guess you got to shoot me in the shoulder or do something to make it so it didn't look like I went down without a fight. God
Should
damn.
kick me really hard in the balls or something like that. That might do the trick.
Yeah. the dark under deals.
Behind the scenes. But that's the one thing about Back to Beware the Batman, though. It's like
good movie right there.
They started. It's like one of those ones. It's like it's just such a bummer that and this happens a lot of animated series, especially nowadays. It's just one of those ones they just don't give them enough time to, you get the show started, and the next thing you know, they cut the cord and just say, "Fuck it, next new Batman."
Yeah, I'm curious to know what the new one is. How long it'll probably be around for another 1 or 2 seasons. Maybe it's Super Kitty. It'll probably be around for a while, but who knows?
Well, because Beware or not Beware Batman, but Brave and the Bold. That one had I think about 3 seasons on it, or so.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably one of the. And I want to say the Batman almost had like 2 or 3 seasons too. Like it went a while. It's kind of sad, and I don't know if it's something about like. I wonder if a CG show compared to a cartoon show sells nearly as well.
More expensive, maybe, because I know that's one of the
few CG is probably cheaper.
You think so? Okay.
I would assume that's probably cheaper than the 2D animation. That's always my reason why they probably go with that over it.
Mm-hmm.
Because they tried the Green Lantern one. And, well, here's the thing: the Green Lantern one, I think it had the same amount of episodes too. I think, because I was gonna say they had 2 seasons, but no, I think it was just part 1 and part 2. But they feel like they're 2 different seasons.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the only bummer. It's just like you get this show, it's all starred, and it's fucking awesome. I mean, this show was the closest thing, I think, to the Batman the Animated Series of all the shows they've done. And for it just to kind of end, and I just feel it's like, what show is popular by only 1 season? I mean, look at me and you. We didn't get the fucking last episodes till the other day. So
yeah.
we just bought that second half of the first season.
And we love the show.
And it's already canceled by the time it's for sale.
Yeah,
what's the point of that? It's like, you know what I mean? That's fucking...
Well, even Paul Dini said that who was on that one episode of Fat Man on Batman. He said, I didn't work on the show, but I know about what you're talking about. And he said that's how Cartoon Network was a lot of the times. And they would always just try and like rush it out there. And if it didn't do good, like on season 1, they just give it the boot, basically.
I mean,
sounds so
they
dumb.
probably have a tactic that works in that way, I guess. But
well, it's probably I bet it's something around the lines of, because even shows like Young Justice, that was getting good reviews and it was getting views. It just wasn't the demographic, and that just seems so like, well, just change your advertisement for that show then. Put on like older ads for when that show comes on. Don't like put on like.
Well, yeah, treat that show like it's a Toonami, or Toonami, or treat it like it's in, I guess they're in the DC block, so I guess you can't. But it's like, put it like an Adult Swim if that's who your audience actually ends up being.
Yeah. That's kind of like my dream show. Kind of like a Batman show. It could be a DC show. It'd just be simple. Put like a Batman, like Young Justice quality show. Doesn't have to be like R-rated, but like probably something around the lines of Under the Red Hood or something like that. Like
let's just say it's in the DCU, but it's a TV show. It's a PG-13 thing, like a DCU movie. Borderline R almost. But yeah, it comes on Adult Swim.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm thinking in about 5 years or so, there'll probably be something like that.
The closest thing we had to that, I mean, it wasn't as good, but it was still entertaining, was the cel-shaded CG Spider-Man show. Because that show wasn't a
the MTV one?
Yeah. Which was weird. Of all places for that to be on was MTV.
Well, I think they're just trying to be ballsy. Well, does Sony own MTV?
Maybe they did at the time. I don't know if they still do. But that was actually what I saw. I didn't watch it all the time, but what I saw of it was good. It was one of those things like... I wish it went on a little longer because they probably could have done more, because they did do that thing where it's like, well, we don't have a whole lot of character. They had like a handful of characters you knew and liked, but then they had in a lot of characters just kind of made up just for the show. So it was one of those things that if it stayed around a little longer, would have been pretty awesome to see them bring in like bigger, more liked, more well-known characters. I remember they had Kingpin. I want to say they had Lizard. I know they had like Silver Sable and Kraven, which was cool.
Mm-hmm.
But
didn't they only have like 13 episodes or something like that?
It was like one season. I remember what I saw of it was pretty good, but yeah, it would have been cool to see it kind of go on a little longer. I want to say that it was kind of like sort of implied. I mean, it wasn't part of canon, but sort of implied it was supposed to take place between Spider-Man 1 and 2 of the Sam Raimi movies.
Huh.
But at the same time, it was just because because they were in college and Harry Osborn likes like Spider-Man killed my father. He was always talking about how Spider-Man killed his father. So and there's a character in there that was basically supposed to be Black Cat without being Black Cat. And it was just one of those things. Just give it a little more time and let them add in more characters. I think. I mean, it was already a good show. It just could have been a really good show if they let it keep on going.
Yeah, well, it's one of the ones I think that was just like it's kind of weird to think that Spider-Man is the one that was chosen as the experimental like PG-13. You think you would take like a Wolverine only show or a Punisher one and use that as your experimental like PG-13 cartoon show.
Well, now it's official. They actually are doing the Deadpool movie. Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool movie. Did you see the test footage?
No, I didn't see test footage. I saw like there's like screenshots.
They made like a CG test footage, and basically it was just a little short, like a little 2-minute short of Ryan Reynolds voicing Deadpool. It's really good CG. He's sitting there just drawing like something with crayons. I don't know what song he's listening to, but it's some rap song. He's like, "That's my shit. That's my shit." He just turns, looks at the camera, like, "Oh, hello there. I am your plucky hero. I'm supposing why." I don't remember what it was. Everything he says, like, I bet you're wondering why I'm wearing red. It's so my enemies don't see me bleed. And all of a sudden he sees like a car coming down the way. He's just like, "I hope they're wearing their brown pants today." And like just like drops into the sunroof. He says some little funny one-liner. I don't remember what it is, but he starts kicking the shit out of all of them, and then like basically kills all the guys in this car. Car ends up flipping. At some point, he cuts a guy's head off, and he's doing the whole talking to camera thing, being funny. So I remember they're playing some like soft '80s pop song when the Deadpool title pops up.
Sweet. See, it's cool to see that they were able to do something like that. Because when I saw that Deadpool,
but
what?
There's a rumor saying the movie might be PG-13. Like, okay, this is good enough to be like, we see where the appeal is, but we just might make it PG-13.
Well, see, the sad thing is like when they had that Deadpool video game came out and it was mature and it was just like, as mature as could be. That's like one's like, fuck, that's amazing that they're able to do that. You know what I mean? To fucking show a picture of Cable and there's a song in the background just going, who the fuck is that?
Who the fuck is that? He's the man out of time. Who the fuck is that?
It's like I was like, oh, I was busted up laughing and just having all these like, different one-liners and stuff and just the whole point of like Deadpool doing all those weird things and fucking like trying to get chicks to like fuck him and everything, all that regular stuff. And if it's a PG-13 movie, I just feel like you're gonna lose that weird, wacky.
They're still gonna have the weird.
I mean, like you could still. I mean, I think you could make it. Oh, I'll say this: if there was a movie that had Deadpool in it, but he wasn't the main character, it could be PG-13 and be totally fine. But I feel that if it's a full-on Deadpool movie and it's PG-13, because the only downfall of Deadpool is because he has suffered before when he comes to like speaking lines and things where he comes across as obnoxious and not funny whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
I feel if it's PG-13, it might have that. That's what I'm afraid of. Now, I trust Ryan Reynolds enough, and hopefully whoever's writing it will do a fine job. But that's the only thing, because I think it's in Wolverine versus Hulk. Deadpool's really obnoxious in that one. Nothing he's saying is funny. It's just stupid.
Because you gotta have if you're gonna have him like flailing around front and center, you gotta at least let him be. This is gonna sound dumb. Let him be who he is. Let him be just like some foul mouthed guy. I'm sure there is some writing that is where it is good enough where he doesn't need to swear every 5 seconds or anything like that. But still, I just think it'd be so much easier and so much more to the character if he's having really morbid jokes. Like he gets an axe stuck in his head and he picks up like he gets like some radio signals. Oh, I like this station. You know what I mean?
It's the violence that I think that's the biggest thing that's going to suffer. Not necessarily the language, it's the violence. I think because you need that with Deadpool. That's like who he is.
Mm-hmm.
But,
or I guess you could still have, it'd be cool if like, Hydra, Disney owns Hydra, so I don't know if you can get that in there, but like, kind of like Bob, like, how he just has this sidekick that works for Hydra that he occasionally picks up, and this guy, for some reason, like, falls follows Deadpool around, even though he beats him with a stick and like talks shit to him, and
We see that in life. There's always those like friendships you see, like where there's somebody who like you're like, why is that guy friends with that person? Like he just treats him like shit. It's like, well, that's the only other person. Also, it's the only person who invites him over too. So I guess it works out for him.
Or just kind of things like, I don't know if they have the balls to do this, kind of like when they get the pirate boat. He says like, "Someone be your right hand man." Kinda, give me my parrot. Throws like a parrot suit at him. So, at some point, like he has to screw him over for a job. And he says like, "I was gonna screw you over, but then I turned out at the last minute. I'm sorry, Mr. Deadpool." He says, "It's okay. Give me a high five. Put her up there." Puts up his hand, shoots him in the fucking hand. I think that's for even thinking about double crossing me.
Now, who owns the rights to the movies of Deadpool? Is it Disney
Well,
or
it's gonna have to be Fox because Deadpool is an offshoot of X-Men. So I'm gonna assume it's Fox.
Oh, okay. So, well, if it's Fox,
And Ryan Reynolds played Deadpool in
Wolverine,
X-Men,
but yeah, I didn't know if that still carried on, like because there could be a weird thing where it's like Deadpool's. It's sort of like perfect example is in the. Was it Captain America or was it Guardians of the Galaxy? No, it was in X-Men where they had
Silver.
No, it was in Captain America where they had
Quicksilver and
Scarlet Witch. So that's a perfect example of like, well, there's two X-Men characters, but they're going to be in the Avengers. So who knows how they have to tie?
They just can't
have Magneto as the dad.
Well, they said that it is entirely two different like. They're not even acknowledging Magneto. They're not acknowledging the X-Men. They're just these two characters. They're ties because they are part of like. That's one of those tricky ones because they're X-Men at the same time. They're Avengers.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying because they're still there. It's like Deadpool. He's X-Men first and foremost, but now since he has so much of his own stuff, could he split away from the X-Men? Even though the weird thing about that is because mostly he's sort of that character. Like all his villains are mostly X-Men oriented stuff, anyways. So.
Well, whenever I read Deadpool, I just got a bunch of Deadpool.
Not all his villains, but quite a few of them are.
Well, generally what he is now, from what I've read, is it's kind of like Deadpool intervening with someone else. Like, okay, he's going up against this takes place during Secret Invasion, so he's going to fight the Skrulls. This takes place during the Dark Reign, so he's going to fight Hawkeye, who's now Bullseye, dressed as Hawkeye from the Dark Avengers. Mm-hmm. This one, he's going to team up with Spider-Man for a minute. This one, he's going to team up with like the X-Men. This one, he's going to go team up with, he's going to hang out with like Thor for an issue, So it's kind of like he jumps around.
Yeah, so it's like, that's what I mean. It's like, since he's not like totally tied, can you split that? Because, that's, I feel like that's kind of how they get away with it with Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. It's like, well, it's like they're part of the Avengers, but like later on, know. So I think I feel if they don't call them Magneto's kids, they don't say they're mutants. If you just kind of like, that's what
they said they're going to do. It's like they said, yep, two separate universes. The one in the one in the last X-Men movie has nothing to do with this one.
Yeah, they're just coincidence, which is kind of weird, but I guess whatever. I guess that's what you got to do.
Yeah, and they said it was like. They're going to make no acknowledgement to his parents. They're going to make who knows? I think one day...
They're like, somebody just dropped you two kids off at a fire station. That's all we know.
Yeah.
What can you
say about your dad? He had a magnetic personality. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. That bullshit.
Something interesting like that.
They always just find a way... They can get one in there.
Oh, he was in a concentration camp. Laugh track. Just like... Boy, they really played that one kind of easy.
Well, no, it's kind of like, every once in a while you'll get one that's like not so bad. Like one of the ones I didn't think was so bad, but it was kind of like, all right, that's how you get it, was an Incredible Hulk, which I think is one of the most of the Marvel Studio movies, I think that one's really underrated. And that's like the forgotten one, but that's one of my favorite ones was the Incredible Hulk. And there's the line... the guy who becomes leader, granted leader hasn't been in the movie yet, but we get the blood drips into his head gets a little big and swollen for a second. Mm-hmm. But maybe he'll be in one of the movies later on. But he says to like Tim Roth, he says like, that amount of gamma radiation could turn you into an abomination, So it's like one of those things like, all right, that's not as bad as other ones, but it's more of like...
Just call him what he fucking is.
He just said it could turn you into an abomination. They always get the lines that way. It's more of like, well, I'm trying to think of, like, there's some that are really bad that are kind of like, really just jam that one in. Like, None of them are coming to mind. I guess the Marvel. I'll say this: most of the Marvel ones are pretty good about just coming out and saying, "Yep, that's who this guy is."
Yeah.
They call Captain America Captain America.
They don't call like, you're kind of like a captain of America. Like something
yeah,
stupid like that.
something like that.
Iron Man, you're kind of like a man made out of iron. Thor,
Man,
just like, you're kind of like that guy,
you
Thor,
sure are
in
daring.
that one story of old religion. Thor.
Guy named Thor.
We had a dad named Odin. Fuck it. Just and they like, it's like, that one didn't really pan out so well.
A second draft, maybe. No, there's like, you're like, yeah, you're quite the daredevil, you know.
It's like, those are the things, like, I always think it's like,
You're quite the Luke K. I got nothing for that, yeah.
Well, it's one of the ones, like, there's some old fucking producer out there who just goes like, you can't call him that, or else it'll seem like a Saturday morning cartoon show. People won't be able to buy into that. And that, to me, that sounds fucking stupider than just calling them what they really are.
I'm drawing a blank on some of the ones where they beat around the bush. Like, I want to say, like, I know they're there, but for whatever reason, they're not coming to mind right now.
Yeah, well, yeah, you hear them all the time, but that's like, I can't draw one right off the top of my head at the moment. But
I want to say like, in like Spider-Man, they actually just came out and said, well, maybe more like the more recent Spider-Mans, like the new ones, they kind of said it's some lizard out there, or like it's like a goblin, kind of like that kind of shit, like the new Spider-Man movies. But the other ones, it would be like J. Jonah Jameson, like, yeah, we're just going to call this guy Dr. Octopus. You like that? Dr. Octopus. We'll call him that. There we go. That works.
I create all the names of this town.
Yeah.
Green Goblin. Spider-Man.
Got that Green Goblin. Well, Green Goblin. But there is no part where he says, like, my name's Venom. They at least didn't have a part like, he is quite Venom-ish. So, yeah,
like, all that leads off, was that a question?
What? Fuck you, we're fighting. Boom,
I'll say this, the TV shows are a lot of times the worst ones about that. It's kind of like,
that's the one I was thinking of. Smallville, like Deathstroke. Here's the worst one ever. Like Smallville when he fights Deathstroke. It took me a second to realize it was Deathstroke. Because what he did is he had like at some point he got attacked and he got like this. He lost an eye, but rather than just having an eye patch, he had this big slab of metal on the side of his face that was kind of shaped like the eye on the Deathstroke mask. Mm-hmm. And then he had a sword, and he had a bullet belt, but he was dressed like a general because he was a military man. He wasn't like some mercenary. I mean, Slade Wilson did have like military background, but he was just like some like guy who's being kind of like, I don't like all these fucking superheroes, so.
And then he becomes a superhero.
And he becomes a supervillain.
Well, supervillain, but I mean, like he gets.
For like 3 episodes. I don't think he even had the serum. Maybe he did. I don't think he had the serum, but he had like a sword and he was fighting Hawkman with it, which that was kind of a cool scene. But there was a part where he just said, this is the one I was thinking of. He like barely misses an attack. And he says like, I just barely missed Death's stroke. It was just like.
Those are always like those ones like, ugh, bad.
You were trying real hard, You just say, back in the war, they call me Deathstroke. Just say some bullshit like that.
At least in Arrow, I think, when they call him Deathstroke, like, because, at first when they just meet up, he's just Slade Wilson. He becomes Deathstroke pretty much when he becomes the bad guy. And he comes there and he's like, he's just like, oh, my name's Deathstroke now, or whatever he says. He goes by Slade Wilson in public, but like his kind of like supervillain name is Deathstroke. But I think in Green Arrow, that was when it started off, or in Arrow, I guess, when like they kind of like, they call Green Arrow, he's like, oh, he's the Hood. And then, like, over time, they fixed that where they just call him Arrow. And then they did that one thing. It's like, he kind of looks like a Green Arrow. I was like, Jimmy, that's the stupidest fucking name I've ever heard. Green Arrow? Who the fuck would call him that? And I remember it's like, that's...
Sometimes they try to be funny, but sometimes it just seems like you're trying to
insulting.
Well, it seems like they're trying to be funny, but they're like almost apologizing for it. It's like at the very end of like...
Lone Ranger?
Yeah, I was going for.
That one was, I think, one of the most insulting ones I've ever seen, where it...
Don't ever do that again.
You fucking idiot.
Hi-ho, Silver, away! Just staring at him. Don't ever do that again. Like, that was a staple of the old show.
I think the movie should have just said, hi-ho, Silver, away, and fucking cut the credits. Don't have to insult your own material.
Johnny Depp's like, no, I need the last word.
Yeah,
we all need to reassert dominance. We need to reassert dominance. Who's selling this fucking movie? It's not my name. Who's selling this
Who's the Native American here? Who's the Native American? Whose people have been destroyed for thousands of years.
Well, Johnny, not you, but you are dressed like one, and for some reason, you really want a dead bird on your head. So
This bird, I didn't want a dead bird. This dead bird chose me.
it just landed on my head and didn't move.
Well, my blanket's falling.
It just like he's just like sitting in a park one day, just like some bird just dies on a branch, just falls on his head. Like it's my spirit animal. It shows me I am one with it. I'm pretty sure I just died. I might have bird flu, Johnny. You might want to get rid of that. No, it shows me.
I must feed it so I don't get the bird flu.
This is going into the movie.
Speaking of like fixing their problems, though, it's just like how Arrow season 2 when it started off, it was just like, guess what? Green Arrow, he doesn't kill anymore. He wears a mask now, not fucking face paint. And then a couple of whatever else it fixed, it just fixed a lot of problems. And this in the beginning of the first episode of the third season, it's just like, guess what? The Atom's in it. And you know what he's gonna do? He's gonna change Star City name. Or he's going to fix the name of the city from being Starling City to Star City, the way that fucking God intended.
Well, at least that show's kind of learning and changing as it went on. Kind of like, all right, well, whoever likes the show is going to stick with it by this point. Let's just make it for the fans.
Because I think that show, it's like, I know, you can tell that it started off, it's like, let's just play this safe. And then each time it went far, it's like, people like it. Okay, let's just add a little bit more. Okay, people like it. Let's add a little bit more.
Even though I love him, Neil Adams was like saying, like, I can't help but think the show got better because I told them what to do. I just can't help but think that because I remember.
Oh yeah, I know that voice. Like, yeah, they came by and they're all excited to talk to me, and I just like, I whipped some sense into those fuckers.
I just told them like, well, you want to know what do you think of the show? Like, you don't want to know what I think of the show. Well, maybe we do. What do you think of the show? Could he fucking smile for once? Does he have to fucking kill everybody? Like, she's like, yeah, I taught those boys some lessons. You see at the special features, like, well, we thought we were doing a good job, but then Uncle Neil came in and yelled at us.
And he took off his belt and started beating us. I don't know what that was all about. He just said that's really important for you guys to become better writers.
Uncle Neil like put us in our place, and we're afraid. He said that if we ever do it again, he'll find us. So slowly but surely, we're like just like they just get nervous. They look out their window. Neil Adams is out there with the belt, just waiting for in case they
He's
fuck
like
up.
dressed as Green Arrow.
The green
just
belt.
smiling, looking into the window, sitting on a tree branch.
The green belt. He like whips the belt, swings into the room, hurls through the window.
Well, they fixed another problem too at the very beginning of season 3 too. They just go, Speedy, he's now got a fucking costume on. So they put him in like the Speedy outfit.
What was he doing before?
They had him just in a red hood running around. Like he was wearing like just a hoodie.
Is it like actually the yellow like archer hat and the red?
No, he pretty much has like it's like the same uniform as Green Arrow, it's just red.
That works.
So he's got the hood, he's got the kind of the leather armor on, the gloves.
As much as I do kind of like when they do stay true to the thing, there's some things like I'd have trouble imagining seeing how they do that. And
well,
I think that's direct.
If you look at this episode or whatever, you just go, oh no, you can tell that's Speedy just instantly. I mean, it looks just like. I mean, it doesn't have the yellow. I guess that's the only thing it's missing.
Maybe Red Arrow. Maybe you could say just Red Arrow or something like that. They
maybe
say
just call him
Speedy
Arsenal.
Even though
I know he's technically not Arsenal yet, but maybe that just be his name.
They'll start using guns and whatnot.
Yeah, even though I don't know. See, you could get away with that like in a cartoon show where somebody uses guns and somehow, some way they don't kill, which is always weird. But like,
Arsenal reaches the point where he uses guns and all that. So.
Well, that's what I mean though. But like, he's not going to kill if he's with Green Arrow.
Mm-hmm. No, I know, yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm trying. Yeah, I don't know. They'll find a way. At the moment, they're just calling him Roy still.
I can't really. Even though I read Under the Red Hood and he's one of my favorite characters in that, or one of my favorite characters in the DC universe, Roy Harper. I actually don't remember if he's going by Arsenal or Red Arrow right now, and Under the Red Hood, because they always call him Roy. I don't remember which one he is right now.
Yeah,
actually,
they always call him Roy in this show too.
Mm-hmm.
So they do throw a big shocker at the end of this one. I don't know if you want to hear that.
Nightwing?
No, they kill off a character.
Black Canary.
Yeah, they kill Black Canary.
She'll be back.
Which okay, like in the comics, it's got this weird fucking relationship thing. There's the first Black Canary, and Green Arrow, has a love relationship with her, Then she has a daughter who becomes Black Canary. Green Arrow also has a love relationship with her.
Oh, fuck!
So in this show, they do it.
Well, there was a Black Canary, because we always think of Black Canary. There always was a Black Canary before. I think there was 2 Black Canaries.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's 2 Black Canaries in real life. So what they do in this show, instead of making, they're like, that's fucking weird that this guy is dating both the mom then the daughter. So we'll just they made them like sisters in this one. So the only downfall is that the other sister's just kind of like, she's like the last obnoxious, or not, she's not horribly obnoxious, but she's still kind of, I would say, the last obnoxious character of the show.
Let me ask this.
Not nearly as bad as that Tommy character.
Was Dana the one that died? Was Dana the one that died? Or Donna? Was she the one that died? Donna, whatever her name is. Because that's the Black Canary that he primarily always hooks up with. Is that the one that died?
Yeah, because the other one's
Dinah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe she'll come back to life.
I want to say that that's her middle name for some reason. So
I wouldn't surprise me the least bit if she came back to life. I mean, Smallville did this thing where it was just like,
she did get shot with about 4 arrows and then fell off like a 5-story building, but in a comic book that's nothing. But in a comic book, you stand up, you dust yourself off, and keep going.
Yeah, I'm sure it wouldn't surprise me. The show is already tilting towards a science fiction area, so who knows? They're like, oh, we got you got League of Assassins, Lazarus.
Yeah, so you can bring that in there, and plus the upside is just by having Flash now, when it's like now you totally have superpowers. Because in season 2, like the only superpowers they kind of had was like the super serum for like Deathstroke and whatnot. That was kind of the start of the superpowers, and then Flash came in. So now, is Flash actually been in there as Flash? Right, he popped in as Barry Allen, got electrocuted, but has he actually been in there as Flash in the costume? No, not yet actually, because he just like
got his own show.
Yeah, and did you watch the pilot of that?
I'm gonna watch it. I heard it was pretty good. No, I heard it was pretty good.
I'll tell you this: the Flash pilot was the best DC pilot of a live action show they've ever had. It is fucking awesome.
Does he get the suit pretty quickly?
Oh, he gets the suit by halfway into it or so, and then like they kind of have like the starter suit, where they got this weird like Hawaiian guy. It works up, it works for what's the secret place that makes
Star Labs?
Yeah, Star Labs. There's like this Hawaiian guy. They pretty much use Star Labs, like what's left of it after the explosions, kind of like the headquarters of the Flash, and he kind of has his team of people there.
Okay.
I guess just to have the supporting cast. And so there's this weird kind of Hawaiian guy who's like their inventor, but he's kind of like almost like gay for Barry. And, he takes this he's like, oh, I made this for firefighters, but it'll work for you. Put this suit on. So at first he's just got it. Doesn't have the emblem or anything. And then at the end he's like, oh, I'll put the emblem on there because that's how he was born or whatnot. Or his powers. And then it's like he battles Weather Wizard in the first episode. So it's like, I'm like, that's a fine way to start. And the way they do it in this one, how everybody gets the powers is when the Star Lab, I'm drawing a blank on like what that thing's called, but when that thing explodes, and then Barry gets hit with the lightning bolt, apparently other people in Star City, or not Star City, but Central City.
Central City.
There's other people that have been hit with that pretty much the same thing, and they all have different powers. So they're kind of going like, this guy got his weather powers. They'll probably have Captain Cold got his ice powers.
I kind of like
Captain Boomerang just somehow, some ways like, man, there's a boomerang and me sitting next to each other. We got hit by lightning, and now I'm just the master of it. I hope they bring Captain
I like the idea.
Sometimes gets the shaft.
I mean, I understand that in the 52 they made Captain Cold have ice powers. I still like the idea that he's a guy with a gun. He's a blue collar guy. I actually kind of
like that more when they're just like these guys. None of these guys have superpowers, and they're all fighting a guy that has superpowers. Mm-hmm. But whatever. I don't think that's a horrible way to go. I think it's it's kind of like, I guess I'll just say it's like New 52 sort of, because they all get powers in that.
No, I think that's fine. I understand you got to mix it up a little bit. So,
I think that works. But no, I kid you not, fucking Professor Zoom's in this episode.
At the very beginning, killing his parents.
Yeah, but then they kind of like they kind of go like, ooh, it might be this guy that he's working for is going to be Professor Zoom, because they show 2024 or whatever. And that's kind of like the cliffhanger at the end of the episode. And then I think in like the next time on Flash, I want to say Captain Cold might be in it, because it showed this guy and he was holding a gun, but it didn't look like a regular gun. It looked kind of like, a Mr. Freeze-like gun. So I'm assuming that might, because they always show that for like click, 2 seconds. So you're like, oh fuck. Mm-hmm. But no, I kid you not, that show I mean, it was better than the first episode of Arrow. It blew fucking Gotham out of the water. It makes Gotham just look like a shitty show compared to how good Flash was. Um, and better than that. I guess there's not that many live action shows to compare it with, but like still, that one. I mean, now granted, it had Arrow to kind of like build off of, but it was fantastic. You got to check that one out. For some reason, I
Yeah, I'll
watch it but
Oh, I haven't watched it yet. I'm going to check it out pretty soon. I've just been super busy. I haven't had time to really watch anything. But the one thing I have been doing,
did you see Gotham episode 3?
No, I didn't. Like I said, I got this. For a friend of ours, I'm sort of doing this side animation project, and I'm trying to work on a deadline. This right now is kind of my break, but
I know podcasting is really like my only break nowadays. It seems like, because it's like I just go from, and it's still, to me, I consider it. Sounds weird, but I still think of it like work, because it's not like, I feel like if I have free times, like
gotta stare at my ugly fucking face, like, oh fuck this guy.
Not like that kind of work.
You move like 2.5 hours away, and still somehow I have to look at your fucking face talking on a microphone. Oh hey, how's it going? Welcome to Old Man Orange podcast.
But it's like one of those ones, like because to me, like I consider like if I have time off, it's like when I just don't have to do anything. It's like when I don't have to animate, when I don't have to edit. When I don't have to do just anything creative, I can just kind of like sit down, almost like if I gotta sit down and play video games just for an hour or something like that. That's like my like time off. Because it sounds weird. I feel like when I watch Gotham, it's like, okay, I gotta go to work really quickly. Watch this. Well, I gotta watch it before the podcast.
That was my thing. The last 2 episodes, I watched it just to get caught up on it. Just I guess if I run out of shit to talk about, I got this. But I actually got one thing I did get was Super Smash Brothers for 3DS.
Oh yeah, I forgot about. I totally already forgot about that.
Which I'm surprised. There's a game that came out that we both wanted, and I was the first to get it.
I just didn't have the $40. That was my thing. I was like, oh, I wish I had $40 for this.
No, I just went out because I don't really buy video games that much anymore. But there's like a few franchises that'll make me go out and do it, and this is one of those games. And it's different. Well, let me put it this way: it's Smash Brothers. It's Smash Brothers. It still feels kind of like just a Smash Brothers game. It's fun though. I mean, if you like Smash Brothers, you might as well get it. But if you, I'm gonna say this: I think you could probably wait till you get on the Wii U, because there's probably gonna be more for it on that, if I had to guess. I mean, this apparently has all the characters, but I'm guessing even though that it has all the characters, I'm guessing there still will be more on Wii U, because this almost feels more of like, in a way, just something to link up with your friends and play online and just play in versus. That's what it primarily feels like for the most part. I mean, there is a classic mode, but it's kind of hidden. There's like big, bold, like smash, and you go to that, and you're like, oh, there's just, you kind of set up the fight how you want it to. The character, what happened to standard arcade mode? And then I noticed it's in a very small. It's like in a spot you really wouldn't expect it to be. It's like, oh, in games and challenges, solo mode. Like, okay, or like
that's weird.
Not solo, like just classic mode. Like in games and challenges where you think like, oh, hit this punching bag or weird challenge type shit. It's actually in there. And that's where you go. There's also All-Star, which I haven't tried yet, but I go to classic mode, and that one it's a lot shorter because I remember for whatever reason I remember there being like 8 battles, but this one I think it's like only 4 or 5 battles. And
yeah, because I want to say there's at least 8. It was kind of like Street Fighter length.
Yeah, and each one, it's kind of like, it's been so long since I played a Smash Brothers game. It's just taken me a little while to get my skill back. Plus, I'm playing it in a way I never played before, which is on a 3DS. The characters play pretty. It feels like Smash Brothers. It is another Smash Brothers game. It doesn't have that jump that you had from the original to Melee. Doesn't have that jump. Still a fun game, but I bet it's so much more fun if you probably got friends like you and me. We don't have friends, you know.
Yeah, it's like we have friends, but like either one, they generally don't. Even if they have 3DSs, sometimes they're a little bit slow to get to the games. Like you almost have to like force them to go out and buy it, or there has to be a fucking deal where they get it for free, but because they bought another game. But
are you referring to me?
No. I was referring to somebody else who had to get Super Mario Land or Super Mario 3D Land in an unconventional way.
Oh, right.
But so it's like there's that kind of
Cisco. Okay.
Yeah, because like everyone told us like, dude, you gotta go get there. It's like, yeah, I'll get it. And I was like, and then I think Luigi's Mansion came out.
It's good for you. You put your hand on his shoulder, it'd be good for you.
And like Luigi's Mansion had this thing. It's like if you bought in the last 3 months, if you bought a 3DS XL and Luigi's Mansion, you get Super Mario 3D Land for free. And then I was like, dude, you fit this criteria. You better get this. I'll be fucking pissed if I see a good deal go away. And then he got it, and then he thought the game was okay.
Be my avatar. Be my shopping avatar. Live the life I can't. It is a fun game. It is a bigger roster of characters. The Pokemon trainer, he actually isn't there. You just play as Charizard.
Yeah, I know they kind of got rid of some things like that.
Lucario's there instead of Mewtwo. Toon Link. Dr. Mario's back, which...
now, did they change Dr. Mario up a bit?
He's still Dr. Mario. I want to say that maybe he... I can't really find the real difference. I want to say maybe the hit ratio is a little different.
Yeah,
or
there's
something.
probably like stat differences, but like the moves are pretty much all the same though.
Yeah.
Now is Toon Link still like that too? Is he pretty much the same?
Toon Link's actually one of my best characters. I really like Toon Link.
I like Toon Link too, but they didn't like change him up. Is he still like? I mean, he has bow and arrow, he has bombs, he has boomerang.
Toon Link is just kind of like weaker but faster than regular Link. That's the give and take.
That's
what
I ones like
I like Link's attacks, but he's a little too slow for me. Toon Link is fast, and that's why I like him.
Yeah. It's like one of those ones like I thought this when Melee came out. I'm like, when they had, young Link in that one, I'm like, there were so much possibilities. It's like, why don't you just make him like, because, Link has so many items. Why didn't you just use all those other items? Because the only thing that's really different about, like, young Link is he was faster. He took more damage, but he was faster. And then he had the fire arrows. That was the only thing different. I was like, okay, well, this is how you should have did it. I know this is what you speak. It's like, yeah, but you're not the one funding the bill now, are you? But still, whatever.
At least he's visual. At least Toon Link's visually.
Yeah, he's visually different. But I'm like, think if you did like, okay, young Link, instead of having the regular bombs, he had the bomb shoes. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The ones that go across. Yeah. And instead of having the bow and arrow, he had the slingshot. Instead of having the boomerang, he had what the fuck's another item he could have had right there? I'm trying to think
Just throws a rock.
Yeah, just
maybe
throws a pot or something like that.
I'm just saying he just throws a rock and like the rock, just make it like bring him reality for a second, hits the side of someone's head like, oh fuck, he just go to the ground like bleeding from the forehead, fuck.
And maybe one of those ones like when he jumps up, instead of doing the spinning thing to go up, he has like a chicken that carries him, and then he can throw the chicken at somebody, and maybe the chicken grabs on him. I mean, I'm just trying to think creatively to make the character completely different.
They do have some pretty creative characters in it, because at first I was like, how the fuck does this work? But like a character that's actually like Mega Man. Mega Man's different. I'll get back to him. But
because I played as Mega Man, because I had the demo, so I got to play as Mega Man.
Mega Man plays weird. I'm not good with like long range characters. Everything he does is all about long range, and I have trouble with him. It's not that he's bad. It's just I'm not good with him. Because all his stuff is meant to be long range. Basically, he doesn't punch. He just does a little blaster thing for his A attack. Pac-Man plays really good. What happens with Pac-Man? You could actually when you do like your side like special, basically you could almost kind of control where he's gonna go, and he turns into that waka waka waka, and he kind of just follows like a line of pellets. So that's almost kind of like
that's cool.
Yeah, so it's almost kind of like how when you use Fox or not Fox, when you use can't believe I'm drawing a blank on it. When you use Solid Snake. And you have the kind of remote control missile. It's kind of like that. For a second, you can kind of control where this thing is going to go.
Huh. That's cool.
Kind of makes that you control your trail of where it's going to lead to. And then, he'll do a thing where he holds up a fruit and he just throws a fruit. Be like, what good does that do? But then if you kind of hold it long enough, it becomes a different item, gets stronger, and you kind of just throw different things at him. So you get kind of creative that way. Duck Hunt, who's actually a really good character, which is the dog.
That's cool. Because I was hoping he was in there, because in the demo it didn't show him. That's why I was like, what the fuck?
The theme of that character is he's a representation of all the light gun games for the NES. That's what he is.
Oh, that's cool.
His down B is like, remember that quick draw game for the NES?
Is that the one's kind of like the mobster one?
I want to say they're like cowboys. Maybe there was mobsters. I want to say there's cowboys.
I remember there being a mobster one too, but yeah, okay, I think I know which one you're talking about.
Like a cowboy would come by. He doesn't do a whole lot, but he just stands there and shoots. He doesn't do a whole lot. So
he's kind of like a summoner.
To an extent, like his side B attack, for instance, he throws one of those like one of those clay pigeons. One of the clay pigeons you meant to shoot like in the light gun game.
Yeah, in Duck Hunt, because that was the option B mode.
But if you time it just right, he could actually, if you can kind of control it I'm not gonna. It's hard to explain. You can kind of control where it goes, sort of like a homing missile. I mean, it's a frisbee, so you can't go like up and around and everywhere.
Mhm.
But you can kind of control it. And if you time it just right, you could like hit B a couple times, and it will like do extra damage, like a bam, 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 like the little like shot icon appears where it's shooting.
Huh.
So it's
Pretty
kind of like summoning, and like up B, the duck just lifts them up basically. Like this duck and this dog should not get along, but they're teaming up right here.
Yeah.
And then
Just for the
like
greater good.
yeah, to like punch Mario in the dick. Yeah, and then like his B is
Yeah, well,
like
you just like they didn't. It's like Mario was the one holding the trigger, or was holding the gun the whole time.
it's just like the dog's like, I never wanted to grab your brother by the neck and bring him to Mario. I never wanted to. He just had a gun pointed at my head. Like, dog, you're gonna go out there and you're gonna kill that fucking duck. So if you want to do the dark, edgy duck hunt game, you could do that right there. The dark, edgy duck hunt movie, because everything's doing dark and edgy. But anyway, and then like I want to say his B, it's like he throws a little can, but if you hit it just like time it just right, like B bang bang, you could almost kind of like, it's like you're kind of shooting a can. If you hit it just right, it'll land into somebody and explode.
That's cool.
So he'll like throw this little like I don't know what it is exactly, a little explosive can, but he'll like throw it down. Doesn't go too far, but if you hit it just right, you can bounce it and have it basically get shot into somebody.
Huh. Well, that sounds pretty sweet.
And
It's good to see that character's kind of made pretty creative.
Yeah, like there are some the characters are pretty creative. There's the girl, I don't know, like the goddess chick from Kid Icarus. I played as her. She seemed like whatever she is. I couldn't figure her out. I was like, I'll get back to it because I'm not good at the game anymore. I used to be so good at this game, but now it's just like I'm kind of relearning it. So I was like, I'll get back to this character. And her thing, she seems very slow but very strong, like using magic and summoning and shit. And Rosalina, I'm guessing she's creative. I haven't really used her yet. I've just been it's weird. I get this brand new game, and I'm primarily just playing as the characters I know and like. But
the character's been on there since like day one almost.
But I do like Duck Hunt. I do like Pac-Man a lot. Shuck from Xenosaga or Xenoblade, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
That guy's kind of interesting. Is Xenosaga is that what it is? Wasn't Xenosaga originally its own thing that got bought by Nintendo, or is that like a different franchise?
Well, it's like I always get that one confused if there's that one for like PlayStation called Xenogears or whatever.
That's what I'm thinking of. Xenogears. Okay,
for the longest time I was like, is Xenosaga just like a spin-off of Xenogears? But I don't think it is. I think it has nothing to do with it whatsoever. But I'm not too sure. That was the game.
Good.
I said that came out for Wii, and it got like so much praise. They said it's like probably one of the best Wii games ever, kind of like released. And like if you go to pick it up now, it's $50 used.
Well, that game was one of those games I never played it, but I remember like it got a lot of great praise. But they said like the graphics are so fucking bad, especially for being a Wii game. Like, this would be fine for GameCube, but for a Wii, it was like such bad graphics.
I don't remember mentioning.
I remember people mention. I saw the cutscenes. Like, really, is this a GameCube game? Like, oh fuck, this is Wii. That's pretty bad. I mean, I know it's a Wii, and it's not like PlayStation, but I've still seen some decent Wii graphics. It was like, oh, okay, whatever.
Huh? Because I never heard like they say because if it's Wii, it's going to be only as good as it can be. But,
yeah,
and it's an RPG, so it's like I don't think that makes
sense.
The only thing to me is like it was like I almost got that game, but then I was like, oh, it's a runaround RPG. Well. Maybe someday. It's a lot of times like I'm just like those games they lose it if I have to run around when I'm battling. I'm like I don't know, that doesn't sound like fun.
You miss your turn-based.
I do. It's so hard to find that. Nobody's made a good turn-based game for 360 or PS3 or even like the newer systems. That's not a runaround game. Yeah, the 3DS. The 3DS has a couple. There's like Bravely Default that looks interesting, but it's like. Okay, that's cool, but I want to see something that has just really fucking good graphics, but plays like a Final Fantasy 7 or 8. Like, you don't run around in the battle, you just can attack. And like the only thing is there's a game, Lost Odyssey, that was made by the guy that created Final Fantasy 1 through 9.
But it was
it should have been amazing, but it had the old style where it's like, this guy has to use magic. And if he like attacks, he does like 2 damage. And you're like, that's fucking gay, because the one thing about magic, it's like, okay, you got to battle, in an RPG, I don't know how many times you battle enemies because, you got to get your experience, you got to level up. So you got to battle, 10,000 plus times. And if I have to use magic where it takes an extra 15 seconds each time I need to attack, it's like, that's just wasting my time. You know, it's like I just want to tack. I want all my characters to be fucking warriors because nobody's a fucking pussy in my clan. I don't need no stick wielding.
You don't need Kate Sith. You don't need a healer. You don't need like.
Well, even Kate Sith. I can in Final Fantasy VII. If I want to use Kate Sith, which I don't, but if I want to use Kate Sith,
I'm not saying I do, because I'm not one of those guys. Not me, but the option's there.
The option's there if I was like tied down, and you know, and I was. Or if I played Final Fantasy so much that I said, fuck it, maybe I should just try Kate Sith.
They said the option was Kate Sith or dick in the mouth. I'm going to be honest, I'm going with dick in the mouth. I'm going to say it. Fuck it.
I'm not going to lie, but they're two horrible things, but still, in Kate Sith, you could still make him attack. It's not like you're forced to use magic whatsoever. That's what I love about Final Fantasy VII. Is if you want to use magic, then you equip them with magic, and they can be magicians. If you want to just say, fuck magic, I hate magic, it's fucking gay, then you can just give them all attacking things.
You just want, like, because in Final Fantasy VII, don't they reach a point where they get, like, a car? You could, like, drive around in a car or something?
Yeah, you get a car before you get an airship.
All right, I just imagine just like all your Final Fantasy VII characters like just broing out in a car, just like blaring, like fucking James Gang, like right on that, sleep all day. I know where you're going. Like there's a fucking monster.
Let's go kill it. Just all the characters are extremely buff, just sitting in the car, just like Cloud's got these huge muscles. Tifa's got even bigger,
bigger muscles. Barrett's just like a mountain of like just muscle by this point. Like
his chest is so big you can't even see his mouth. You just see his eyes looking over it.
There's a fucking monster. They get out. It's a chocobo running away for dear life. Let's fucking kill it.
They're all just like they can barely walk at this point, so they're all like going after it, carrying these huge weapons. Like you get back here, you fucking chocobo! I want to ride you. Then Barrett jumps on top of the chocobo. It's just legs break underneath.
And then Aerith like peeks her head out of the car, like, "Hey guys, magic stays in the car." Like, yeah, but I could heal it. Like, get in the fucking car. Like in the car, like steak. You know, just see the three of them
they're just eating the chocobo.
Like in a fire right there. All the magic people like are just like, man, they never let us leave the car. We're not really even on an adventure with them. We're more like hostages. They threaten to kill us if we leave, but they want nothing to do with us too.
I just like I don't know what it is. It's just like in RPGs. Because it seems like well, as one's like it seems like if you like RPGs, you must really like magic. It's like no, fuck magic. I fucking hate magic. You know, the only magic I might use is cure, and that's about fucking it.
That was what yeah.
You know, it's like, it's just, the main reason this is the reason I don't like magic. It takes fucking time. Because, you know, attack, I can just go X. And, you know, all attack. Everybody goes, okay, back next to the next turn. If I have to use magic, I have to go click down, click X. Okay, now click, lightning, click X. And then I got to wait for them to sit there and cast it. So, you know, that takes another 10 fucking seconds. Finally goes, and then you go, that did the same amount of damage as my fucking attacks did. It's a waste of time. Now, obviously, if you develop your magic and that's what all the character does, then yeah, they'll do more damage, but fuck it. You know what I mean? That's it. I just don't like magic. And that's what I loved about Final Fantasy 7 and 8 is they pretty much were the games that said, fuck it, you don't like magic? Good. Guess what? In 8, if you could just take that magic and put it in your fucking stats. There we go. Fine. I'll never use that magic, so that's a perfect place for it to go. And then 9 kind of came back and then forced you to like, oh, you got to play as Vivi, who like has to summon every fucking time because he only does 2 damage every time he swings. Or you know, you got Princess Dagger here that fucking like she can only cure people and can't attack. It's like that's fucking stupid. Even though I like 9.
I'm guessing plus it's like for like female gamers as a woman, it's probably gonna drive them crazy. Like girls are always the fucking healers. They gotta hate that after a while for female gamers.
If at least switch it up. Just make them, just make the female characters they're all the warriors. Just like let's take Final Fantasy 9 for example. Just make Steiner instead is like Garnet.
And I don't know Final Fantasy 9. I know there's the guy in the blue.
Okay, there's a guy in the armor.
There's the guy in the blue with the wizard hat, and he's like the little guy with blue. Is that Vivi?
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, it's like I like the character. It's just one of those ones. Just if he can't, if his muscles are so weak he can't hit somebody, give him a fucking gun. I don't care. It's just give that little fella a rocket launcher there.
Then there's the main character who's basically like a cross between Goku and Leonardo DiCaprio.
Dude, that character is that is like totally defining that character. It is literally if Leo played fucking like Goku in a
Leo,
Dragon Ball
like
movie.
1997. Leo in 1997, basically.
But that's just one of those ones. Like I hate that. And well, I think that Bravely Default game is sort of like that too. Even though I think it has there's the Final Fantasy style where you have like classes where you go like you just pick. You're like I want my character to be a warrior, or like if you didn't want him to be magic, you'd be fuck that. All my characters are either warriors or monks or something like that, or a red mage, which is a sweet. That's the only kind of like, I guess, kind of magician I don't mind, because a red mage can carry all the fucking weapons that a warrior can, so they attack well, but then they can also cure and do black magic. So I'm totally
That's
cool
the
with the red mage.
Is that the red mage art? Okay,
You don't see them in every single one. They're in Final Fantasy 1, they're in Final Fantasy 3, I think they're in 5. I think so. And so on. They're in a couple other ones. So they're a cool class.
Is that what Vincent is? Is that what Vincent is? A red mage?
Vincent?
He kind of looks like he
7?
looks kind of like he looks kind of like
7. None of the characters in that one are like they don't have like a class. Let's just say that.
I thought it'd be like this guy kind of resembles like the warrior. This girl resembles the mage. This guy resembles. I thought it was kind of.
I guess you can say that, but it doesn't really make it, because by that notion you'd say Cloud's probably the warrior. Tifa would be the monk because she like punches. Barrett's the
archer.
He's
a gun for an arm.
Yeah, I guess he's the archer. So I guess you could say they're kind of like that, but in that game it's like you just kind of pick whatever.
Kate Sith is there.
He's just there. He's the patsy. He's like the Poké doll you get in Pokemon where you can throw it out and just like takes damage for you, so your Pokemon doesn't get hurt.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those ones. I've asked people online. Whenever I meet somebody new who goes like, "Oh, I'm into like RPGs," I just go, "Do you know of a modern RPG that you don't fucking run around in? That you literally stand still, press X to attack, and you don't have to have anybody summon magic unless you want to?" And nobody can answer it. It's like everybody's just like, "No, that doesn't exist. Nobody's made that."
Just an ellipse. It's just
one's like it's all I'm asking for. You know what I mean? It's like the closest thing. It's like, I mean, yeah, like I always say Pokemon's the closest thing. Now, if they could just do Pokemon on the Wii U
with an adult story, with like a adult or serious story, would be cool.
Yeah, I mean that would
not
be
Pokemon,
better.
but
I would take Pokemon. If they could just did Pokemon X and Y, and it was and it had Wii U graphics, that'd be good enough for me right there. Fuck it,
I'm surprised they haven't done that. I'm really surprised they haven't done that. How many spin-off things they've made and how they've yet to do that with that game.
But it's one of those ones I've thought ever since we were kids.
They teased it with Coliseum, but we still haven't got it though.
Yeah, because Coliseum was like a sort of like a half-ass version of that. But I remember like being kids when Red and Blue first came out. The first thought we had in our minds after playing that game was like, dude, you know what they should do? Fucking Red and Blue on the N64. Come on, like how cool would that be?
We all
never
thought
made
that.
And they were like, fuck, you know what they should do? They should do Ruby and Sapphire on the GameCube. And they never did that. And then we were on the fucking Wii. You know what they should do? They should do fucking Black or White on the Wii. And they never
I'd settle
did
for
that.
Red and Blue.
You know what they should do? They should do fucking X or Y on the Wii U. And they'll probably never do that. I don't know why.
I'll just settle for Red and Blue because that's the shit I know.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like I would prefer, like if you're gonna do one, just do a remake of Red and Blue, but with sweet graphics. That would make my day, because once again, as I say, nobody does a traditional RPG anymore. I mean, yes, they always kind of make ones for 3DS, and sometimes you see some for PSP, but they never make one to just like put it on the PS4 or Xbox One now, since we're at that point, or even Wii U, but keep it a traditional RPG where you don't run around, and then if you don't have to like summon magic if you don't want to.
I'm imagining that game though if it came out though. Because now they're trying to get like different people who don't usually work on video games involved to help sell it. Like the new Silent Hills,
well, that's from a Konami thing.
I know. But aside from Norman Reedus, they got Hideo Kojima. That's a big seller for video game people. For other people though, they got Guillermo del Toro help make this game. So for Pokemon, what if they're like, all right, so it's the guy I don't remember his name who made Pokemon, and then for helping us with the art direction, we got Darren Aronofsky, and like you open up in Pallet Town. Ash's mom's a crackhead. Like, I want you to leave. Don't ever come back, Ash. Don't ever come back. You disappeared just like your fucking father did. You know? He's like, I had to leave home in order to make money to support my mother, you know, on this big adventure now. You know what I mean? So just the dark and gritty Pokemon game.
That'd be awesome. But I mean, like, I would just settle for it. I don't care. It can be the same way that Pokemon is. Just give it the updated graphics, you know, on a console. That's all I'm asking.
That'd be fun, yeah. And that's one of those things. Like a lot of Pokemon stuff. It's kind of hard for me to. I mean, not trying to be this guy because if I play Black, it's still a fun game. I don't. It's hard for me to give a shit though because I don't really remember these characters. I don't know these characters so much. But if you give one like, oh, I remember this as a kid, and just have it more updated and good graphics. I mean, I don't give a fuck for the story, but it's still there's still some nostalgia there. I actually one day a little bit ago, honesty time, I went on Spotify. I'm like, I wonder.
To be a master soundtrack?
Looked it up.
I want to buy that one so bad. Such a fucking good soundtrack.
Oh, it didn't hold up to me, dude. I'll tell you right now. There was some nostalgia.
Like when we were listening to a Cisco, I was like, dude, it's still just as good as ever.
I was just there are songs. There are certain songs I immediately go to. Like, go to this song right here. This song takes me back. But there are other songs that are like, oh wow, I forgot about this one. Oh wow, yeah. Like I would like to hear like a Bruce Springsteen version of Pikachu's Goodbye though.
That'd be awesome. I don't know. What was
that one song? There's that one like I remember like it's the first time we met. And I knew from there you're my best friend from thick and thin. I like to hear Bruce Springsteen do a version of that song. The time has come. You can almost play that song at a fucking funeral.
And it's, you know, I think it's one of those ones because, like, to me, I still really like Pokemon a lot. So, it takes me back. Like when I play Pokemon, like it almost takes me back to like 1998. It's like
there is nostalgia. It's one of those things though. There is nostalgia to it. It does make me feel kind of good when I remember. Oh, I remember that. But I remember that show wise, I mean, the show. It's kind of like, oh, I remember that. That was kind of a fun time. But it's like. Really, the story and the writing and all that kind of stuff doesn't really hold up to me. But the game, strictly in the sense of a game, the game is really fun though, and I still have a. That's why I was a little down when I found out I can't download like Yellow or Red or like Heart Red or Leaf Green.
You talk about the Fire Red or Leaf Green.
Yeah, for the 3DS, I was a little down when I found out you couldn't do that. But
you can't really download any Game Boy Advance games yet, so.
You can't? What the fuck do you download on 3DS? I thought you could
download Game Boy regular games.
No, whatever. I'll take that.
It's kind of like, yeah, because that
seems kind of stupid. I know it can. If it can play like Mario 64, what you can download like Mario, you can Game Boy Advance.
Well, it's like
games.
Okay, like on my system, I have 10 Game Boy Advance games because I got it through that like special deal they had back with the Ambassador program. But they never
fucking pay for it.
Yeah, they've never released them. It's just like, but you can get Game Boy Advance games on your Wii U.
Yeah, it's not handheld. Fuck that.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing. It's like, okay.
I mean, maybe there's some business side. I really feel kind of like, I don't give a shit. Fuck it. Stupid. I really feel like that. Kind of like somebody's going in uneducated just with like a bitter, like with a chip on his shoulder. Like, I can't play it on there. It's fucking dumb. I'm going to play it on there. Why can't you just magically make it appear in front of me? Maybe there's some like real reason maybe there's some real like, you know, business side of it I don't understand. But I mean, it just seems like this thing could play 64 games. It could play shit like something close to a GameCube game or above GameCube game. Why the fuck can't it play like?
Well, yeah, because like if you have you seen what Resident Evil Revelations? Did you look at what Resident Evil Revelations looked like on there?
No, but I'm sure it's
you
good.
Play it. And it's like it looks like you're playing a GameCube game. So it's like that game is like an example of like what you can do.
I've seen what other games have played, so I'm sure it looks great. So it's just kind of like, why the fuck don't you do it? I know you can.
Yeah, well, it's like a Game Boy Advance game. It's a lesser. I mean, here's the worst part too: is like by not releasing that, it's just kind of like, well, I'll just go out and get the ROM of it then, because clearly, if I can't buy it, I'm gonna get it somehow, some way.
That is something kind of about Nintendo. Even though I do love Nintendo, they always seem kind of like, no need to rush this thing, even though this is the main reason people bought this system. You know, because even if you look at their like. Even like I mean, this isn't just Nintendo, but just look at like launch releases for the last couple generations. Last really good launch release was GameCube. And you think back, like Nintendo 64 and GameCube, it was like, guess fucking what? You got fucking Smash Brothers, and it comes out like in a week, but still got Smash Brothers.
Yeah, pretty much a launch release.
you got like Luigi's Mansion. You know, they had all the,
And
they
you
made
had
a
Star
big
Wars
deal
Rogue
of it.
Squadron, like
Yeah. They made then like you get to Wii, it's just like, well, hey,
here's a
how's it
GameCube
going?
game that
We don't actually have a Mario game, but here's a Zelda game that's technically made for the GameCube, but you got something, right? Right? And then it's just like, oh yeah, Wii U, right? Oh, fuck. We kind of forgot about that.
here's an updated version of a Wii
Yep.
game, pretty much.
That same shit we've had for like, been pushing on you for the last 6 years. Here's a new one. I mean, it's fun, but I'll be honest, man, we totally forgot about this. It totally kind of slipped our mind. Yeah, so here you go. Don't worry, we'll get some good shit out for you later, though.
I mean, and then the 3DS is one of those ones too. Like, okay, now, like, don't get me wrong, that Ocarina of Time remake for 3DS is full on amazing. But it's kind of like, I kind of wish there was at least something like when that came out that was like brand new.
Original? Yeah.
It's like, don't get me wrong, I kid you not, that's the best version of Ocarina of Time there is that one with 3DS. But
well, even the original DS, there was still like that dry spell. Like, oh shit,
you got Mario
really
64,
cool
which was like badass. And then there's 6 months where nothing came out.
And then everything within those 6 months was basically kind of like a prototype. Like there is the Yoshi like Touch Island
or whatever that was called.
Yoshi touches you, whatever. I don't know.
Pointing the doll, Yoshi get into a dark room and touch each other.
pointing the doll with the stylus, or Yoshi touched you. Yeah. But no, with that game, like, because I was like, oh sweet, so it's like Mario, it's like Yoshi's Island, awesome. And then I just realized, oh, it's
Yoshi.
This is all there. It was really just
you touch him and he goes up, and that's it.
No, it's like he was walking, and you would have to create like a trail of clouds for him to walk on. And you touch him, he'd hop, he'd jump. You have to circle around like bad guys in order to like stop them. And it was mainly just a thing. There was no set level. There was no real like arc to it. It was just randomized. How long could you last? That's all it was.
It's like, isn't this fun, kids? It's like,
I was like, I paid $30 for this fucking thing. And I was like, so like, really? I paid $30 for this. This isn't even a full game. This is basically, I mean, wasn't there yet, but it's basically an iPhone game.
Yeah, it's like a test.
That almost seems like kind of like a lot of early DS stuff or half-assed DS stuff is. It seems kind of like iPhone games. The half-assed ones or the earlier.
Yeah, like those ones that you'd get for 99 cents, which is probably what they're worth.
Yeah. And sad enough to say, I don't know about Wii U, but the Wii as well. Certain games.
Yeah, well, like some of those, like those kind of ones are just like.
Wait, not even third party. We're talking like fourth party. I don't even know what fourth party would be exactly. What the criteria is.
Those like lower level games. The game comes up for $20 brand new day one.
It's like 4 games in one, and it's like $15.
Yeah,
it's like, and there's that one like it comes with a Wiimote,
Oh, you talking about
that's
was that the Nintendo made one?
I don't think it was Nintendo made, but there's one that came with a Wiimote, and I hope that wasn't Nintendo made.
Well, there was one that came out. It was pretty much Wii Sports 2, but it wasn't Wii Sports 2 yet. It was called like Wii Play, and it came with like a remote, and that was like the main reason everybody bought it.
Like a fake game, maybe that's what it was. Yeah,
it just had kind of a bunch of little mini games on it. Like,
it's sad if Nintendo made that because those weren't fun games.
Well, it's like somehow, some way. I don't know how I have a copy of it. God knows where I got it from, but I have a copy of it. It's actually not like terrible. It's actually not bad at all. I'll tell you this: if it came with your system, you'd be, oh, that's kind of a cool thing. But I just couldn't imagine going out and spending $40 on it. But I think everybody bought it because it had a controller in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just like not even like nobody has like good launch releases anymore, though. Not even like the PS4 or Xbox One. Like they just don't. They give you something that you can play that's at least fun, but nothing like it's you know what I mean. Like Xbox One, it's like it really should just come with Halo 5. That should be like day one release. Like really think about it. It's like that's why you bought an Xbox.
The first half-assed release I can think of. I mean, I didn't think of it at the time because when you're younger, you're just so amazed by it. But when it first came out, I want to say the first half-assed release seemed like PlayStation 2, because there was a Tekken game, but that Tekken game was very half-assed.
The Tekken Tag one?
Yeah, it's fun.
I always think of that as
it's fun.
I still think that's like my favorite Tekken game.
It's a fun game, but it was just kind of, they didn't really add anything to it. They just kind of threw all the characters in there and just a big roster. I mean, it's a fun game, but it didn't really do anything.
It didn't have because Tekken 3 had a bunch of these extra modes, which Tekken Tag didn't have any of that in it. Mm-hmm. It was more like Tekken Tag was just like the graphics are better, and here's all the characters from 1, 2, and 3. So it was kind of like a cool compilation, I guess you could say, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Well, because I remember that, and then the other cool game that it was more like I still enjoy it, but like it was sort of like just look how sweet the graphics are on PS2 was the Bouncer, because it had like it was a Square game and it had sweet fucking graphics.
Beat 'em up.
And it was a beat 'em up game. It was a really cool game, but it was only single player. And, and the game was only like what 2 hours long or something like that.
Yeah, they would. Yeah.
As I said, it was like I like it a lot, but like you think of it as just like it was totally just to show off the system.
Yeah. So I mean, that was probably I think the first half-assed launch release that came out that I can think of. As far as big consoles go,
that was a lot of other things. Like Dreamcast had a great launch release, or at least I want to say, it came out with Sonic the Hedgehog, House of the Dead 2.
Radio.
I don't think that was a launch release. I think that came out the next year.
Okay.
I think because Dreamcast only has like a 3-year run, so everything kind of feels like a launch release.
Yeah, that could be it. Well, no, you had for like Nintendo, you had for GameCube you had a lot. Even Xbox, whether you like Xbox or not, they had a lot.
Xbox didn't have anything until Halo came out.
Wasn't that a launch release?
No, because it came out it was almost a launch release. It's like, in retrospect, it feels like it was, but it came out, because I want to say the Xbox came out in November and it came out in spring. I mean, close, but not close. I'll give a launch release about a couple month window, but anything more than that, I wouldn't consider it. Because when Xbox first came out, I was like, what the fuck are you going to play on Xbox? It was like, they didn't have, I think they had that Obi-Wan Kenobi game. And
oh yeah, the Obi-Wan game. I forgot about
that Bruce Lee one. I don't know if that was a launch release, but there was that game too. And there was a couple things for it, but oh no, you know what? Actually, there was a good one. There was Dead or Alive 3. I think was a launch release with.
Oh okay, yeah, that is a big one right there.
But yeah, it's just in recent times, just because the 360 was another one too. It was like, what the fuck? What are you gonna play on that? All the games that kind of came out for it, you could get them all for, GameCube and Xbox and PlayStation 2 still.
Mm-hmm.
And then, obviously their games came, I think once Halo 3, but that came out probably a year later, if not 2 years almost. I don't know.
Yeah.
Really quickly, back to Flash, though, I want to say this.
Oh, fuck, I forgot about that.
They had a couple cool, little, placements in there. There was a part where they panned across in Star Labs, and there was a cage that was broken open, and it said Grodd on it.
Really?
So I thought that was cool. And then secondly, there's a part where they would go to test the Flash, to see how fast he can run, and they're at Ferris Airfield.
Well, I guess that's cool that now they're at the point where they're actually fans are watching, and we can throw a little nod in there for a possibility. So that's cool. And they didn't make a big deal out of it. There's just a cage just said Grodd. They didn't make a big deal it looks like an ape escaped or whatever. They just had
looks like there was an ape escape here.
Yeah.
Just Gorilla Grodd. He's got the fucking
little
siren the siren on top of his head. Dude, yeah. Ape Escape was a great game. They should bring that back.
You see Flash chasing him with a fucking net.
That's one of those ones that make a fun short game. Was just take the Ape Escape engine and have just Flash chasing after Gorilla Grodd and his minions.
I think it's funny you're telling me. I mean, I don't have any games on my phone, but I thought it was funny. You're telling me dude, they have one of those Temple Run style games, but it's Batman and Flash. Yeah, because we can't just, even though it makes sense to have Flash in it, we just got to throw Batman in it to help it sell.
No, it's actually it was one of those ones that was free. I was just flipping through. I was just bored. What was there? Go, oh, there's a free Batman game on here, and it was Batman running, and all it is just one of those games where you're just running straight ahead, and then
left to right.
You go left to right. You can throw batarangs. You can jump. You can slide. And, you can either play as Batman, the Joker, Flash, Grodd, for some reason. I know you have to unlock Grodd, so I don't know what he's just running along, throwing bananas. I don't know what the fuck he's doing.
Throwing shit.
He plays Catwoman and a couple other ones. But it was for a free game, it was kind of fun. It's kind of one of those games, this is one reason I don't like phone games very much, though, is you kind of play the game, and then once you kind of either die or something like that, they're always hey, you want to get more shit? Give me $10 and I'll give you some more money. You can buy extra characters and extra items. No, fuck you.
Yeah. I almost downloaded Injustice for my phone, but it was taking up too much time. And it's oh, you have to delete some shit. No, I'm not going to delete some shit.
I downloaded that one and played it. It was kind of it plays a active time battle version of Injustice.
What does that mean? Active
it's you go you're oh, okay, I'm Batman. It's go to punch. It's you swipe forward. Then it's throw a batarang, swipe up. And then it's okay, now you got to block, swipe two directions, something weird like that. So it's not a fighting game. Let's just say that.
Okay, so you're basically playing kind of like a quick time, basically, but using like your fingers. Gotcha.
There was one that's actually pretty sweet on there, but I think I deleted it because it was taking up too much memory. I was like, I don't really play it that much.
You had a Sonic Temple Run one, didn't you?
Yeah, there's a Sonic one too, which was it was kind of fun. It's not nearly as good as like other Sonic things, but there was one where like you chose.
They're trying to throw a spiky blue pussy out there to get as much money as they can.
I know there's also like a Sonic Jump one and all like yeah, he's like been used for a lot of things. But there was one where it's like you picked like a Justice League member, so either like Batman, Superman, Green Lantern, Flash, Wonder Woman, blah blah blah, and it was kind of like a top down 3D beat 'em up game, or sort of like top down, kind of like X-Men Legends. It was kind of cool, but. That's kind of how this. Like when I play games on my phone, like you always want to have a couple games just in case you get stuck somewhere and you're like, oh fuck, what am I gonna do? I got no service. Oh fuck, I got Sonic 2. Oh, I'm covered. You always want to have a couple of those. I feel, but other than that, it's like. Forget.
Go ahead.
I would say other than that though, it's like that's about it. As long as I just have a couple of those games just in case I get stuck somewhere.
I kind of like I keep on forgetting. Oh right, I have a phone. I can get apps. I keep on forgetting that. I just kind of use it for internet browsing and like downloading podcasts primarily.
Maybe podcast almost feels like probably the internet browsing and emails the two most important things for me on there, but the podcast is like the other thing. Because I remember when my phone crapped out on me, it was like, oh fuck. It wasn't like, oh man, no, I can't get emails or internet. I was like, what am I going to listen to my podcast on? And then there was like a couple weeks where I was literally downloading podcasts. I'd have to go on like Kevin Smith's website. And then save them onto like my MP3 player. It felt so fucking weird.
I had that. Yeah, my phone broke one time. I remember I think it was a Two Average Dicks podcast. I had to like just get off iTunes and upload it onto my phone. Like this went out on my phone, my iPod. Like this is weird. This feels different. This is what they used to have to do. I probably wouldn't have listened to podcasts if they didn't have them on smartphones. Man.
Yeah. It's just like that. That's almost like I would say that is one of the biggest features to me on my phone is the podcast.
Definitely.
But that's probably a good place to wrap it up. We probably breached the 2-hour plus mark, so
yeah,
those things happen.
I don't even remember what we talked about, but yeah, we did.
There was a whole lot of Batman and Smash Brothers, and I remember at the beginning of the podcast.
My landlord,
he came in. Some Chinese guy was pointing at your roof.
Yeah.
But
I just let the camera go just in case something happens. I'm just looking
like he tried to like rape you, like maybe just yell.
I'm not worried about an 80-year-old Chinese man trying to rape me. No, believe it or not, that is not. If there is a list of 100 worries of mine, that might be 101. But
it is not anywhere on the under 100 list.
Yeah.
But. Yeah, until then, make sure to check out oldmanorange.com and send us an email at oldmanorangepodcast@yahoo.com. And we will see you some other time. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Ryan Dunigan. Bye. Hey, I think I think of a better tagline. I don't know, just as like bye, like that's my thing.
Yeah,
bye.
I used my tagline before I said my name, so I had to make up something else afterwards.
So I don't know. There's got to be some kind of, I don't know, without sounding cheesy or something, like just. I don't know.
Alligators.
But like, or like, I don't know, what would we call our? Because this is gonna sound somewhat pretentious, but like, what do we? This would be a good podcast conversation right here. God damn it, fuck it. We'll try and artificialize it next time.
Still recording.
It's still recording. No. There's like some like people they call like their like some people if they have a fan basis like Benedict Cumberbatch. Like this one seems a little like derogatory, but like he calls it the Cumberbitches. Cumberbatch that's what he calls his fans. Like the Who, they call their fans the hooligans. So what would be I don't know. It might seem a little thing because it might seem a little like pretentious to give like you're the orangies or the old men or what would you call our
something like
what
that.
Would you
something
later orangies what the fuck
orange heads.
Orange heads. That almost sounds like some kind of racial term that like was abandoned a long time ago. Like it's kind of like every so often you hear like one of those racial terms, like you hear an old person say like, "Oh, I don't know what that is, but it's sharp and it sounds negative."
It was probably
what I'm
only
saying?
used during war times.
Yeah. Like one time I heard I heard like a grandpa yell, "Oh, this fucking nip!" I'm like, Oh, wow. That's I don't know what that is. I never heard that before, but it sounds very, very derogatory and sounds very negative. I can figure out what he's probably talking about though. So every so often, just kind of like, oh wow, I don't
Yeah.
know, oranges. That's what that kind of sounds. It sounds almost kind of like, oh, this fucking orangey over here,
Sounds like
orange head,
Richie.
or this orange head, this fucking orange head. Almost sounds like a
Orange heads.
really derogatory.
Well, sort of like
Yeah.
Deadheads, I guess, for the Grateful Dead.
Yeah, Deadhead could work. Deadhead works though. That makes sense.
Orange Head just sounds.
Or you just go like, "Hey, old men," just like our show, just calling our audience a bunch of old men.
I don't know.
This shit isn't recording, is it?
It's still recording.
It is. Oh shit. Well,
It's not like it has to be there though.
doesn't have to be there. We could maybe just drop it in every so often. They have that little thing like before the show actually starts, music kicks in, just like random audio, like da 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 da, yeah, funny one-liner, theme song, and kind of carries on like it wasn't happening. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Who knows?
But yeah. Well, hopefully next time we can talk about sort of like the Batman Volume 5. If you get a copy of that.
Hopefully I can. Do you have it yet?
No, it hasn't come in yet. I thought it'd be there today, but I probably won't be there till next week.
That became my mission of the day. I was like so focused on doing this thing. Like I'm just gonna stop and do the podcast for a second, and then once I'm done with the podcast, it's back to this. That's all I'm doing
Just gonna
all day.
Search for that.
And I was doing that, and I was doing that. But then I had like, okay, well I got to do the podcast in 30 minutes, and then I'm like, oh shit, Batman came out already. Then I go down to the comic book shop and like, oh, don't have it. No, I don't have it over here. Called the other ones on the other side of town. Don't have it. Like,
I'm just
not trying to be this guy.
surprised that they don't.
I'm not trying to be this guy, but I'm like, get on your shit.
Well, it's like it's not like you're asking for an obscure title that came out, you know what I mean, or something that's out of print. It's like, okay, it's probably the biggest book that DC has at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
How do you not have a copy of it? That's sort of like that's like going to the store right now and somebody not having Super Smash Bros. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I was almost kind of like, I mean, I'm not going to make a thing of it to them, but it is kind of like, you're a comic book store. This is probably the biggest hardback out at the moment. It just came out. You don't have it,
Yeah, it's just, that's kind of a strange one.
Yeah, but anyway, I mean, maybe they probably were focusing more on like single issues, is maybe where they make most of their bank, but still, just like, really, this is one of the bigger ones, but okay, whatever.
Yeah, come on.
Anyway, man, I'll talk to you a little later, okay?
Okay, sounds good. I'll talk to you in a bit.
Thanks for listening to the Old Man Orange podcast. Check out our website at oldmanorange.com for even more podcasts, cartoons, videos, music, and more. Send us an email at oldmanorangepodcast@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe, share, rate, and review us on iTunes, Podomatic, or any of the other fine sites we might be located on. And if you want to help out even more, click on the Amazon or GameStop links on our webpage before you make any purchases there. It won't cost you a penny, but it sends us a little something our way. Thanks again, and tune in next week for more Old Man Orange Podcast.